Yo, 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 what is up? 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 I hope everybody is doing fantastic today. Hope everybody is enjoying, well, at least the start of the weekend with our last preseason game. Tomorrow, the finale of preseason. Training camp is over, obviously. As we know, let me know if everybody can hear me. Um, yeah, so we haven't talked. Obviously, I've been making videos the whole week as usual, but like I didn't find out the news about the Jahan Dotson signing until later in the afternoon because the one day where I was really busy, um, me and my girl have been house hunting and shopping for Halloween, shit like that. You know, been doing some other stuff. But every time I'm busy doing something, something always happens. And yeah, we haven't really talked, so I wanted to kind of get your guys' opinion on Jahan Dotson. You know, how much, what difference does he make in this offense? And are you worried about some of the things that have been said about him by Brian Mitchell on WIP to, so there's a lot of things in play right now. But I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. What's going on, guys? Hope everyone's doing good. We got the Wise Tribe. We got EN890. What's going on? MJ, what's going on, dude? Philly Special 209. What's going on, dude? Donnie, what's going on, man? Chaos, what's up? Philly Birds, what's going on? We doing good, man. We're ready to go, man. We want the season to start. We got another week and a half, and that's it. We are ready to go. Nico, Steph, and Cher, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing good. Nate, what's going on? Freaky, what's going on? Professor, what's going on? So we have a lot to discuss today because we go into our last preseason game tomorrow. I will be streaming the game tomorrow, and we'll have some commentary afterwards. A lot of content tomorrow, and we should have the shakedown tomorrow night. So we'll be able to talk about, obviously, Jahan Dotson and everything else that's really been going on. But think of it, you signed Jahan Dotson, right? The trade goes through. Howie Roseman gives up a 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks. The Eagles get a 5th-round pick. So I think the Eagles have like 3 5th-round picks for next year. So that's just more ammo. You had a couple 3rd-rounders, so you take one out of there. You still have, I think, 1 or 2 7th-round picks left. Now, Jahan Dotson, his numbers really, because he's a 1st-round pick, so you have to wonder now, okay, what are the cap hits? Now, I went on overthecap.com and saw the cap numbers, and I guess they're wrong because I heard a lot of people saying some other things about the cap. I don't know if I'm looking at the wrong information. I thought it was $4.5 million this year, $4.5 million next year, the year after. But it looks like it's only $1.5 million, $1.5 million for this year, which is dirt cheap. And I think $3.5 million for 25. So really, at the end of the day, he costs nothing with the Philadelphia Eagles for 2 years. The Eagles can keep him after this year for another year. And because he's a 1st-round pick, he's got that, he's got the first, he's got the option, the 5th-year option, which is great. So a lot of wiggle room, I said last year that the Eagles wouldn't sign AJ and Devontae Smith, okay? I said that. Could they actually sign Jahan Dotson on top of it? And yes, it can't be a big deal. I honestly know that. So we'll see what happens. So Commanders 1985 says basically Jahan Dotson isn't as good as a slot receiver. He can't beat man press where he may be good and outside like Quez Watkins, but reliable hands. Well, I think what Jahan does really well, he's good in open space. I think if you line him up on a safety, he's going to beat the safety every single time. Okay. Getting to the second level and doing what he could do, I feel like if Kellen Moore uses him where he's not a press type guy, contested catching type receiver, and honestly, there is a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. We know the weapons we have, okay? So I think as a number 3, I think he's gonna conquer, man. I think he's gonna do really well in this offense that's heavily loaded. He's dealt with 4 quarterbacks since he's been drafted at this point, 3 to 4 quarterbacks he's been drafted. And whatever the news was of him coming out of camp and being lazy or whatever the hell's been going on, I don't know how much of this is actually true because, I know Ike Reese was interviewing Brian Mitchell, the ex-Redskin running back. That is a part of the Commander's staff the other day on really what's going on. I want to know from you guys, do you think it's true? What does Jahan Dotson bring to this offense? And, do you think this offense is pretty much complete at this point? I know we still have a glaring weakness probably at tight end because Dallas Goedert is hurt. Calcaterra just came back from injury, but he's already been hurt this offseason. CJ Usama was released. It did nothing for us. Albert O is hurt. So it's just kind of, I think tight end is probably one of the biggest positions offensively that's crumbling right now because guys just can't stay available at this point. Jay Snar says, Shake's gotta admit, you were right about the wide receiver 3 need. It's not, I don't want to say that I was right about the whole situation at wide receiver 3, but I'll say this. Really how everything has been going on at camp, okay? Paris Campbell cannot stay healthy, okay? He just got off of the groin injury, but he missed so much valuable time. He missed the joint practices. He missed 2 preseason games. He's probably not even going to play on Saturday, probably not tomorrow. Britton Covey has done well, but is he really a starting wide receiver 3 or more of a gadget type guy for this offense? And obviously is going to be a big part in special teams. John Ross has had a solid camp, but just not enough for me to say, yeah, he's the guy we just put in there and be a starter this year, but could be a value on kick returns. And Johnny Wilson has been out a couple weeks already. Probably, I don't even know if he's playing tomorrow because of this. If he's still out because of this concussion, my God. I don't know what great type of concussion it is, but he missed that second game, which I think was a lot of valuable time for him. But Britton Covey only played 13% of the snaps in that second preseason game against the New England Patriots. So why didn't Covey play more with all these injuries? It kind of questions you. That's when I kind of questioned it. Like, I was hearing news about the Commanders and Jahan Dotson wasn't even in competition for wide receiver 2, wasn't even in competition for wide receiver 3, really on the bubble to even make practice squad at this point. So I figured they'll probably trade him. But would the Commanders actually trade him to the Philadelphia Eagles? I didn't know. Within the division, I didn't think it was going to happen. There was news a couple months ago that Jahan Dotson wouldn't have been traded at all. But Howie obviously spiced it up with a third, a couple 7th-round picks. And to be honest with you, I think it's a steal trade. You're getting a first-round pick. You're getting a guy that's going to go in Kellen Moore's system as the number 3 wide receiver. And trust me, I had some comments yesterday. Oh, Jahan Dotson is not going to produce because, we have too many weapons and, he's just going to be the odd man out. To be honest with you, I think he's like the 5th option on this team. To be honest with you, because I think there's a lot more weapons that we expect. We should expect Saquon Barkley to get the ball a lot, okay, to get that run game going, and between rotation with Will Shipley, Kenneth Gainwell, and if they decide to keep a 4th running back, hopefully it's Price. So there's a lot to really be excited about. I love the signing, and honestly, hearing the news yesterday from Brian Mitchell, I think they're just trying to dump a lot of crap onto this whole entire situation of why he was traded. And this is Dan Quinn's first year as a head coach. And, he wants guys to compete, but unless the Commanders are getting Brandon Ayuk at this point, which I don't know, I'm hearing a lot of rumors because of that right now. And it's only because Jahan Dotson's gone. Is it real? I don't know. But Naomi Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus, they really don't have much behind Terry McLaurin at this point. So who do you really name the number 2 over there? I honestly don't know. But Commander fans were going out of their minds between yesterday and today. It's been kind of nuts. Big decent Covey has grown leaps and bounds as a punt returner. No, I think he's gotten better every single year, bro. I totally agree. Kyler says people aren't seeing the big picture. They think Dotson needs to produce when in reality he is just a smokescreen threat, like 35, 50 catches for 250 to 500, and we are laughing. No, I mean, realistically, Dotson can get 400 to 500 yards this year, and that's a fine year for him as a number 3. Can we depend on Jahan Dotson for those big moments where we really couldn't depend on Quez Watkins when it came to those big moments and having some good regular season games? Can we depend on him for those moments? But obviously, Kellen Moore opening things up for him, even if he is, just say he's the third option right now, okay, there's just way too much attention on the field. I think this is just a huge ceiling type move where Jahan Dotson is going to see what it's like to be a Philadelphia Eagle, see just what this culture is, and really just see the weapons around that he is in a very good situation in this offense. Beyond, I mean, it's almost amazing. Don said, Joey, who do you want to see in the preseason tomorrow? Really, all I'm kind of looking for the preseason game on Saturday is I want to see, obviously, Cooper DeJean is going to be the focal point of this game tomorrow. Like, you know, this is the first time where he's going to be facing another team in another uniform realistically. I know he was in joint practices on a limited basis, but hopefully to see more from him. I want to see, obviously, the linebackers. I want to see Nakobe Dean. We'll see if they dress him. Trotter Jr. will definitely play on Saturday because it looks like Devin White and Zach Bond are the starting linebackers right now. And you know, I've really been liking this linebacker core a lot going forward. The competition's been pretty good. But like I said, I know everyone's going to tell me, well, you know, we have to wait till the first game. I get it. You know, things have to change. So we'll see. Ryan Taylor said EJ Jenkins can be a stud tight end. Let him play. I mean, for a guy that's 6'6", 230, 240-something pounds, he is projected to be the number 3 tight end right now. Projected right now. With Albert O hurt right now, Calcaterra coming off injury, and, you know, now Dallas Goedert's hurt where he could be out up to 3 weeks with, I forgot what the injury was, but it's like a few days to up to 3 weeks with that injury. So could Dallas Goedert actually miss time when the season starts? I mean, Jesus, man. I mean, this guy just can never stay healthy, bro. Never stay healthy. Eagles fans says Washington turned down the 49ers offer to Ayuk. I don't know. I figured the Ayuk rumors would be coming in so quick. I don't think they have any, just because Jaden Daniels and Brandon Ayuk are best friends. Like, I feel like they just said this because of that reason, and because Jahan Dotson's gone, all the news just exploded. I don't think there was real reports of him even going to Washington, but who knows? Is it real? Is it not real? I guess we'll find a way. Devin says, you try to find a defense that pose as an on paper threat to this offense. I think I'm chugging the Kool-Aid at this point. It's hard not to, dude. This especially because running back is upgraded and wide receivers upgraded even more than we expected it to be. So I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid, and if people are, that's perfectly fine. Everybody has their own opinions. Like, I don't want to go ahead of myself, but I got to see them in the first game, obviously. Everything looks good on paper. It comes down to the coaching. It comes down to the quarterback, really, and Jalen Hurts, which I have no issue with going to this year. Okay? No issue. JB said, I think the fact that other defenses are going to stretch thin, trying to cover all these threats, regardless what Dotson does, if he gets 3 to 4 touchdowns, 350 to 500 yards, Hurts will be MVP. It could be. It could be. Okay. Kellen Moore getting these guys open, and honestly, he's got a big task this year because he really has a lot of mouths to feed in this offense, and there's going to be a player that doesn't have the matchup that Kellen Moore likes. So adjustments will be made in game. So if Devontae Smith's having a hard time just because, it could be how they're, who are you going to double team, really? You know what I mean? Somebody's going to have a big game. We're going to have big games with Jahan Dotson. We're going to have big games with Saquon Barkley. We're going to have big games for Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown in one game. I mean, it's at the end of the day, everybody is selfless. Okay, nobody doesn't, no one cares about the statistics. It's all about, obviously everybody wants to get the ball. Everybody wants to play really well. There's a lot of people out there that say that, there's going to be an issue during the season when certain players aren't getting the ball as much. And, I understand from a player standpoint where you want to make plays for the team and want to look good and you want to, strive really hard. But at the same time, dude, like, everybody just wants to get a W in that win column. I mean, that's really all that matters, Fred says we can't depend on Calcaterra. I predict more 3 wide receiver sets. Hopefully Goddard stays healthy. Yeah, I mean, I don't really trust anybody else at that tight end position. I mean, right now, if Goddard's not there, Calcaterra. The only thing I don't know with Calcaterra is he a good blocker or not? I mean, that's I think Calcaterra's got the speed. I think he's got the hands. I think he can get separation. The problem I have with him only is really, is really just his blocking ability. Jerome Kendrick says, hey, Shakes, and Eagles Nation, they know them 3-and-outs coming. Give us the ball. Go Birds. Philly Dogs coming. I'm excited, dude. I'm pumped. Nate Banks says, bit of pressure off Covey's shoulders. I'm sure he wanted to play, but it's probably best he stays as a 4 receiver. That's perfectly fine. I think he's had a really strong camp. And if they do need him, I think he'll still be used in this offense. I don't think he's out of it. So how many receivers do the Eagles keep this year? Is it 5? Is it 6? Who's the odd man out, really? It could be John Ross. John Ross, I think, could be the odd man out. It really depends what they think about Paris Campbell at this point, coming off this injury, and if they decide to keep him. We'll see who's really tomorrow is going to show like what guys are dressed. If guys are if guys are not dressed tomorrow, then you could say that they're making this roster. Fred says, Commander fans don't know how to evaluate talent. They've been trashed forever. I think they've had a good offense the last few years. The problem, it's been the quarterback position. Like, that's where they haven't found the right guy. I mean, from Heineke, Wentz, Howell, I mean, you name it, dude. It's been insane. I think they've had the offense to do really well the last few years, but that quarterback position has been shaky over there. What's going on, Philly D? Devin says, it's not about who Dotson is. It's about having a reliable slot receiver who could play this team man-to-man with that. And if you zone, we could say we have Saquon. No, like I said, no, that's yes. I mean, like if Dotson's not getting the ball, he's going to get a lot of attention. And obviously, playing zone against this offense is going to be they're going to have to pick their poison. It's almost that some games they're going to have to really rely on some of these defensive guys to play man-to-man. And Hurts has just got to make the right progression, make the right move on the field, and get the ball into somebody's hands. Obviously, the run game is going to be perfect because, look, if you have everybody spread out, if you have all three, Jahan, Dotson, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith on the field, you spread everybody out, and you could have that open, dump-off pass, check down to Saquon Barkley. That's going to have a lot of space, probably one-on-one with a defender that 9 out of 10 times is going to win that matchup. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be crazy. Reggie says, James Trask was to watch the Redskins before joining the Eagles. Dotson better not be a Thrash 2.0. No, I think there's a lot of talent there. You don't think the Eagles know what's really going on with him and what's been his status at camp, and they've been hearing the situation with him, what's been going on. If they're bringing him in, it's because they feel like not really turning him around because, as much as people think, okay, he can't contest catches, he's not good when it's press coverage, which I think you have to give the guy a little bit of space, but that's still a guy that's, got to really, if you don't pay attention to Jahan Dotson on the field, he's going to make a lot of plays. Saquon Barkley behind that is going to make a lot of plays. I mean, Jalen Hurts extending plays. I mean, it's going to be insane, dude. It's going to be insane. Philly Bird says, it's about the team's overall success. I couldn't care less if AJ just gets 1,000. Hit the open man. No, I don't care about the stats, dude. Hit the open man. Whoever is open, don't force the ball to somebody that, trust me, the main thing we've been working on, especially last season, okay, which was the one thing we did good in this training camp was we've done really well against the blitz. When Vic Fangio has blitzed against us, best the Eagles offense in training camp, they've actually done really well. And that's one thing we need to do. And obviously working middle of the field, pre-snap motion, crossers, hot routes, slants. I mean, middle of the field wide open. You play zone against this offense, man. You're going to be giving up a lot of yards. Richie says, Coach Dougie P was not afraid to play his stars tonight. Trevor Lawrence had 2 touchdown passes. Trust me, dude, the one thing that I'm very upset about going into this season in general, the starters literally played in a joint practice. That's it. That's all they've done. It's really the only thing that's really aggravated me a little bit. Okay. It's a problem. To me, it's still a problem. I don't like how they handle the offseason program when it comes to starters and the reps that they're getting together. They count these joint practices as they have more value than actual games, but you're not hitting quarterbacks. Defensive linemen are not tackling quarterbacks. They're just running past quarterbacks and letting these quarterbacks throw the football. I mean, they're not throwing guys to the ground like it's a game-like situation. Like, that's why I'm saying I don't know why these are valued. I think they're valued for wide receiver. I think they're valued for corners. They are valued, but for a quarterback standpoint and an offense getting a rhythm and making it a game-like situation for the offense, I just feel like it hasn't been enough. So hopefully we don't get into the first game against Green Bay and Brazil. And I'm going to tell you, Jordan Love has played in preseason games. Okay, Patrick Mahomes has played in preseason games. They have gotten reps. Jalen Hurts has not had reps yet. Okay, how much do we have to worry about that? I'm not going to say we have to worry, but like I said, you had joint practices for 2 days. One was a full day, and the second day was just limited. It was a walkthrough. It wasn't even another full day of practice. So it gets me worried going to the first game. I'm not going to lie. Dewad Jones, like I said, the Jahan is better than my third wide receiver, than any third wide receiver we have on this roster, period. Howie being out. That's all that matters, dude. At least it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. Okay? It's an upgrade. You'd probably say a couple years ago that Jahan probably was the 1B of an offense, to be honest with you. But you have a guy that can play outside if he has to, and you have a guy who can play on the inside. He's not coming in as a number 2. He's coming in as a number 3, which makes it a little bit better, a little bit more easy to make his job a lot better. So, J. said, I ain't going to lie. I forgot Dotson was a first-round pick, and with 2 years still left on his deal and 24 years old, this move might end up being a top 5 trade by Howie. Yeah. It's getting to that point now where Howie Roseman is making moves. And this is a great move for the Eagles because this is a low-risk, high-reward move because it costs you literally nothing. It costs you 1.5 against the cap this year, 3.5 against the cap next year. It's really cheap. And you have the fifth-year option as a loophole, just like they kind of used Devontae Smith. You have Devontae Smith counting this year 5 years, okay, with that fifth-year option intact as well for, I think, $15 million, whatever it is. Okay, definitely worth the penny, no doubt. We all know this. Charles Malone says, Joey, you think Becton is going to be the weak link? To me, I don't think so. I think Mekhi Becton is just one of those guys that has the first-round talent. We know what he has. But you're going to Jeff Stoutland University, man. He's done a fantastic job. I want to see more of his pass protection because I think that's been the weak point. Not much, but I'm saying at times he's been pushed back a little bit, but I think he's came back from it pretty well. His run blocking is fantastic. But I feel really good about right guard. I do. I feel good about Trevor Keegan. And what he's done hasn't given up a sack in preseason yet. So I think Trevor Keegan as a 5th-round pick. I mean, I think potentially, if you look at it, if Lane Johnson retires in a couple of years, Mekhi Becton plays good this year, gets re-signed, okay? Potentially, I think Mekhi Becton could be your starting right tackle. And I think between Trevor Keegan and Tyler Steen will be your starting right guard for the future. I think that's where we're at with this right guard position as of right now. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Sorry, I just lost my spot for a second. Fred says coaching and Hurts going to be solid. I think just got to stay healthy. Yeah, I mean, health is the health. Every team's got to stay healthy. I mean, that's how it goes. Tommy says, Joey, how many yards do you predict Hurts throws for this year? What is your yard breakdown per offensive player? Well, if I go over every offensive player, but I think potentially, he'll throw 35 touchdowns. Probably have. I'd say 35 touchdowns, and it probably should be a little bit more. I'd say maybe 35 to 38. I'd say rushing touchdowns. I'd say 12 rushing touchdowns for the year. And I feel like at this point, he'll throw 35 to 4,000 as of now. So we'll see. we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Ryan said, I heard the rumor that Tom Brady might play for the Vikings. Anyone heard that? I did not. All these rumors about him coming back, it's always been like that every single month. Philly Bird says, just an example, Joe. We are going to need AJ, of course. Point is, as long as we win, this is all that matters. That's all I care about. That's it. I don't care how. I want. Look. How many ugly games last year? How many games did the Eagles dominate? Okay, how many games did the Eagles offensively dominate teams last year? Not one game last year. Not one. The talent took us really far with really bad coaching behind it. And because of bad quarterback play, because of the coaching, it just made it worse. So you're hoping you're getting 30 plus a game, 35 plus a game. That this offense has, come on now. So Fred said, agree with you, Joey, on the starters not playing. You never know how it goes with the tough. That though, it's a crapshoot. No, it is. I mean, I don't like that the Eagles only had one joint practice and all they're doing is facing each other. Not another jersey, not another name, not another coach that's calling the plays on the defense or the offense. It makes me very nervous going to that first game because I feel like the Green Bay Packers will be more game ready, and hopefully we don't shoot ourselves in the foot by making mistakes and obviously having connection type issues with each of the players when it comes to the passing game. And, I hope that's not the case, man. I don't want to look like shit the first game. I mean, if they start to drag a little bit, I'm hoping they get back on point later in the game because that's what a lot of teams have over us right now. Once the Eagles get through their first game, they should be okay. Offensively, they got to start scoring points. So 125 says, point and shoot. If Dotson has 500 yards, I would be okay with that. Torrey Smith had 400 yards in 17. Dotson is our fifth option, like Smith was our last fourth option behind Jeffrey, Aguilar, Ertz. Well, Torrey Smith was the number 2 receiver, wasn't he? With us, and Aguilar was in the slot mostly. So, no, he didn't have a crazy year. Torrey Smith, made the catches that mattered most, okay? He made the catches that mattered most, okay? And that's all that matters, you know what I mean? So, yeah, the statistics, wasn't great, but, made it count, though. Philly D says, Dotson on the field opens all up. Demon says, Devin White told the media how he said he was coming for revenge for last season, looking for players with the same mentality. I need someone to piss Howie off every year. Yeah, if you didn't hear about the phone call that he made to Devin White before they signed him or when they did sign him to say, look, I was in the boiler room back in 2000. I was in the boiler room during the Chip Kelly days. And I came back out on top and won a Super Bowl, and kind of took that story and said, Devin White's, you know what? I want to avenge myself back into the league and be the top, be a Pro Bowler, be one of the top linebackers in the league. So I really did like that conversation and how he had with Devin White. Devin White, I think, is going to have a great year. I think at 25 years old, guys, 26? He's 26 years old in his prime. Jesus, dude. You're not like you're picking up a 30-year-old running back. A 30-year-old running back or a 30-year-old, linebacker. You're picking. You got a young roster. We're not used to this. So, there's a lot of Eagle fans out there that that don't know what's going to happen with Quinyon Mitchell and how these guys are going to play going to the regular season. We ask these questions because we haven't really had a young. It's getting younger by the year, and it's a great thing to deal with. It's a great thing to be a part of as Eagle fans because we're not used to the youth movement we've been really producing the last few years. It's just been getting better and better. So. Kyle Saunders, what's going on, man? He says, on the link up, Tone brought up a graph on Dotson. Dude average win rate on a route tree was 70%. On the outside as a wide receiver 2 to 3, what you think he's going to do in the slot as the fifth option? Yeah, look, because there's a lot more weapons that defenses really have to worry about. That's pretty cool. 70% is great. But we already know that as a route runner, when it comes to the route tree, Jahan Dotson can do it all. We know this. And that's fantastic. So that's cool. I mean, I didn't know that information at all. So that, shout out to Tone to Shields for that. That's awesome. That's great. Tommy Fox says, yeah, Joey, that also what I'm frustrated with and think could come back to bite us, not playing starters in preseason. We changed everything from last year except that, apparently. Yeah, I think the only thing Nick has really had control over is the offseason program. I don't think he has control over anything else, but the training camp practices have been very demanding. And trust me, from some of the older guys have been saying that this is one of the toughest training camps they've ever had in their careers. So take that with a grain of salt, but that's a good thing to hear that, the camps have been more demanding and they've been a lot better. So what's going on, Eric? Mark said, I'd say keep 6 with Brown, Smith, Dotson, Covey, and Wilson as locks already. Yeah, 6 I think makes sense. 6 I think honestly makes sense. I think it would make a lot of sense because you're going to be using Johnny Wilson during the season. You're going to be using him for red zone, short yardage, use that size of his. His blocking is so valuable right now, so valuable at this point. So you want to use him in the red zone because he can get those blocks off nicely. So if he's not going out for the catch, that man's going to block really good for somebody. Do you think Thomas Booker makes the cut? Not really sure. I'm going to have my final 53 probably this weekend. At the end of the weekend, probably before the Eagles will start making their cuts on Tuesday. Okay. I don't know if they're cutting before that or I don't know if the new rule is that they cut before that. They have to cut everybody in one day. So I'm expecting after the game on Saturday, tomorrow, that the cuts will start to happen. And then we'll finally get our final 53 on Tuesday. We'll obviously have a stream that day, a video that day to talk about it. So it should be interesting. Fred says, people are acting like we have to keep wide receivers where we start them in the game, like we can't move them around. Well, that dude, he said, shit, put AJ at the slot. They've already done this during a camp. They've already put Devontae Smith in the slot. Like, this is the difference that we're getting from Kellen Moore is that we're not just going to run a basic offense, guys lined up in the same spots. Okay, X, Y, and Z. Everybody is going to move around, and depending on the matchups, yeah, I mean the Eagles are going to be making adjustments offensively to really, expose those weaknesses in the defense. So we already know that that's going to happen. I'm not worried about them just lining up basic and just never moving around. They're going to move around 100%. Claude says, do you know what number Dotson's wearing? Apparently right now it's 86, 87, 86, 87. It's Brent Selleck's number. Apparently it is 87, but I don't think that's going to happen just because I think they just gave him that number because it's just what's available right now with the preseason game tomorrow. So after tomorrow, he'll have an available number probably by the end of the weekend. He did arrive at the NovaCare complex today. If you guys didn't see the video, there hasn't been a press conference yet. There probably already was. So it's going to be nice to hear from him and obviously what, just his reaction in general coming to the Eagles and what was said to him to come to the Eagles and how this trade really went down, really. So it should be cool. I never said Green Bay was better than us. I'm just saying they're going to be more prepared. It doesn't mean that they're better. It just means that they're going to be more prepared for the first game because their starters have played starting situations, game-like situations, game-like situations. So don't twist the words around. I'm not saying that. Carlos says, so many mouths to feed. I hope Kellen is up to the task. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes right now. That's it. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. So should be great. Big Sarge says, shout out to running back Tyrion Davis-Price. That's going to be our number 4 back, guys. He's been my favorite back out of obviously the ones that are going to be here. Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Gainwell, Will Shipley. I think Price has done really well. It's got that Le'Veon Bell tactic where he gets to the line. He's very patient, finds that hole, and just gets it to another gear of speed. I think he's great. I think he's fantastic. We got Duncan Wright, member for 6 months at the Camper Tier. Thank you so much, Base. Is Cooper okay to play? For what I hear, he is going to make his debut. And he will be fine. That's what I'm hearing so far and what's going on. Chris, Alex, what's going on, man? He said, I think Paris Campbell's going to get cut. This move feels like they don't see a spot for him if the younger guys, with the younger guys available. I don't know, dude. He's obviously somewhat of a vet that's coming in. You know, he's been injured last year with the Giants, injured this year. I think before that with the Colts, he had like over 600 yards. You have a pure slot guy in Paris Campbell. The problem I have right now is what do they think of him coming off this injury? And did this Jahan do they rather keep the younger guys over Paris Campbell, especially with Jahan Dotson coming in? How old is Jahan Dotson? 20, was he 25? 24? 25? Demon says it's still pretty tight between Ringo and Rodgers, but Rodgers having a slight edge. Q playing slot quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I think, look, Rodgers has had the most starts in training camp opposite of Darius Slay. I think Ringo would be ready at this point. It's a shame, you know, but it is what it is. The Eagles made a safe play by being the only team to sign Isaiah Rodgers right when he was getting suspended for the year for the gambling last year. So I think they made the right move, to be honest with you. This is a guy that's already been in the league for 3 years. Okay, he's been through training camps before, you know, and obviously some of those younger guys had experience last year in starting games. Eli Ricks, Keely Ringo, you know, they had to play on the inside when we lost Zach McPherson and Avonte Maddox. They were rotating the nickel position, which is the worst thing to do. This year, obviously, you got to keep Quinyon Mitchell in that spot because you really don't have anything behind. I think on the depth chart, I think Avonte Maddox is going to be listed as a safety / corner, a nickel corner. I think he's going to play primarily. I think they want to put Avonte Maddox at safety primarily. Safety is still in question when it comes to the depth. Do I trust Avonte Maddox? Not really. Do I trust James Bradbury? I don't even know at this point because Vic Fangio has really said too many good things about James Bradbury this offseason. But from what we're seeing in the preseason games especially, he can't cover tight ends. He can't make open field tackles. And I don't know, maybe we're just not seeing it on the practice field where we can't see it and we're just hearing about it. High IQ type guy, as Vic Fangio says, and transitioning well from corner to safety. And the only thing I give respect for James Bradbury is he knew that the Eagles were bringing in a few corners this year. Okay, he knew he played bad last year, and he decided to take himself out of the position to go to another position and try to, you know, compete at that spot. And that's where we really been at this point. So safety depth, I'm not really happy about it. What's really going to make the difference at safety is going to be, okay, it's going to be where they put Cooper DeJean at. That's where it's really going to matter going down the line. So we'll see. We'll find out. Philly Bird says, Joey Shake, did you hear the proposed trade between Dallas and Green Bay? CD for Christian Watson, a 25 first rounder and fourth, and like a sixth or something. Why would they trade Christian Watson, man? That's a guy that Jordan Love's going to grow up with in the league. Come on now. Why would they get rid of him? That's a bad trade. That's a bad trade. That's a bad trade to a good team. I mean, yeah, they get CeeDee Lamb, but I mean, you're in win now mode as Green Bay. Green Bay seems like they're in more win now mode now than ever from the season they had last year, I guess, from the potential that they really showed us last year. But realistically, Dallas needs to get a couple first-round picks. I mean, they need the first-round picks. I think the best thing that they should do, this is not me trolling, this is me being honest. I think they should trade CD because they need to get a quarterback after this year. I don't think Dak is going to be there. If they paid him that $60 million, they're just going to be gone forever. They don't have anybody on that roster right now that could take Dak's job. There's nobody there that is competent of really starting. And Jerry's not throwing money at anybody right now. Every receiver has been signed this offseason. CeeDee Lamb is still, apparently there's a deal on the table. Apparently it's just not enough. I heard it's like $34 million. It's not enough. And you know what? He probably deserves more than that. And I don't blame him for being the way he is right now. J62 Moon, what's going on, man? It says, done my day. You know, see, FD with my family. Glad to listen to Joey live and chill the fuck out. It's been a long day. It's been a long day for me too. I've been house hunting, Halloween shopping. I've been doing a lot of changes, trying to make a lot of changes in my life. So it's been kind of nuts. Today was a crazy day. What about that? My third new model of the game gives me the Eagles by 1 versus the Packers. 2-6 Sports says it seems like the real issue this season will be someone will be open every play. Can Jalen read the field correctly, consistently? And a lot of Eagle fans have been saying that Jalen Hurts reading the field. Well, how he was coached last year because of teams blitzing against Hurts, not receivers, route combinations, the game plan from Nick Sirianni. Yes, Nick Sirianni. We know it was all him. We know that he had the game plan and Brian Johnson carried it out. How is he supposed to have time to read the field under those circumstances? Really? Like, people are like, he had a down year last year. Like, he needs to, like, people think, like, everybody in the media, everybody as an NFL analyst, I swear to God, every show that I try not to watch, but clips that I do see, is that Jalen Hurts needs to have a reviving year this year. Otherwise, he's going to get, otherwise the Eagles will get out of that contract. Like, everyone thinks that this is how Jalen Hurts is going to play every single year because of last year and what happened. But I hate how Jalen Hurts is the primary blame of the downfall last year. Not really the downfall. The whole year, the Eagles didn't play good at all last year. Even at 10-1, they looked horrible. We got to be real to ourselves. There's a lot more than just Jalen Hurts, not reading the field. There's so much more that goes into it. Like, if the wide receivers don't work middle of the field, if Jalen Hurts doesn't have time to throw the ball, and Jalen Hurts, he didn't play well last year. He threw some bad passes last year, but the rumor is that someone close to Jalen Hurts said that Jalen Hurts went to the coaching staff last year, middle of the season, said, hey, we need intermediate routes. We need crossers. We need to work middle of the field. And Sirianni pretty much swept it under the rug. And this is what we got the rest of the season last year. Like, this is a redemption year. I'm not saying for redemption for Jalen Hurts' career, but it's redemption through a spiritual standpoint of this team. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, losing a Super Bowl in 22, then going into last season, okay, teams are going to be aiming for you because, the Super Bowl finalists, they want to beat that team that was in the Super Bowl. A lot of teams celebrated their Super Bowl beating us in the regular season last year. So there's a lot going for this situation. People are clowning and dogging on Hurts so much, like he needs to play better this year. Does he need to play better, or is it more of the coaching needs to do right by him so Jalen Hurts has everything around him that he needs to be successful? I'm not saying put training wheels on Jalen Hurts or give him a longer leash, but at the same time, Jalen Hurts threw the passes last year. He got picked off a good amount. He got picked off last year. Second and short, third and short, you're throwing 70-yard passes downfield. The Seattle game, which I always remember, the last play of the game, you want to throw an underthrown ball to A.J. Brown because you wanted a flag. Not to throw a ball because you want to make a play. The coaching staff told you to underthrow a ball to A.J. Brown to get a flag, just for a flag. There's no design of this offense last year. You had no design. You had no plan. You had a head coach with an ego the size of Texas to carry out and say, you know what? I could do this. If Steichen could do it, I could do it. And guess what he did? He did it. He buried himself. And that's what happened. I mean, I hate talking about last year. I hate it. I'm always going to remember that season, and I don't want to remember it. Jason R says, can we show some Slay some love real quick? He's had his doubters coming into the season, but all reports show he's had a great camp and hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. I think it really in Slay's career, I think he has like a good 2 years. I think he might have this year and maybe another year left in him. Obviously not with the Eagles after this year, but I think when it comes to this 1 year, I think he has a lot left. I think he still has a little bit left in the tank. I definitely agree with that. Not a lot left in the tank because, I think he will slow down at some point, but this is the year where you really want to get that second Lombardi in Philadelphia. This is the year for it. Howie Roseman has done all he possibly could with this roster, up and down. Okay. I didn't like what Slay said last year when things were kind of going south last year on his podcast. I talked a lot about it last year, but it's a new year. Wipe the slate clean, and we'll see what happens. Chris says, Joey, you think Howie should make a move for tight end 2? I don't feel confident in our backups, and Goddard can't stay healthy. We saw what happened last year. I don't know if they're going to be able to make a trade. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Of course they can, but who are you going to get? I honestly don't know. As a number 2 right now, I think they're going to stick with what they have. I think they're going to give it a shot, try to stick with what they have, and at least give it a shot there. If not, okay, they might have to move a player to tight end. They might have to, I don't know, they might have to move Johnny Wilson to tight end, or I don't know what they're going to do, but they might have to do something. Tight end might be more of a next year type of move, like edge rusher, tight end, offensive line. I think tight end will definitely be a signing for next year. Necessarily not free agency, but I think they will have a high draft pick as a tight end next off season. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Jalen has his legs back. Totally true. Oh, yeah, the speed is back, bro. That guy was hurt last year. You knew he was hurt last year. Chris says the only play calls last year was screens and go routes. Any QB would look bad in that offense. That's what I'm saying, dude. Route combinations, getting specific guys open. Jalen Hurts, always having to roll out to his right because your teams figured you out. 49ers was the nail in the coffin, and then that was it. Every team just knew how to defend every team knew how to attack the Philadelphia Eagles offense. Cover zero blitz, cover zero blitz, cover zero blitz. Then the last game, the playoff game, they actually ran a slant with Devontae Smith 2 times, and he got to the 35 on the other side of the field of Tampa Bay. Then they figured it out when it was way too late. You get a playoff spot pretty early, not too early, but you get a playoff spot pretty early to the point where the Eagles have a playoff spot, and the one thing that's on their side is time to fix things. And you know what they did? They did absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? We got 197 in the chat. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll be covering the Eagles every single day as usual. We'll be streaming the preseason game tomorrow, so we'll be live for that. And obviously, we'll have some commentary afterwards, and we'll have the shakedown tomorrow night too. So it's gonna be a crazy day tomorrow, and a lot to talk about tomorrow. So definitely subscribe, like up this stream like crazy. I do appreciate it. Become a member if you guys have it to support the channel. Do appreciate it so much. And check out the links for the new redemption merch from the Philly Shakedown podcast. Link in the description. All of that down below. So I thank you so much. We have a Discord for the channel. We have over 200 something members. I think we almost have 300 members in the Discord. I do video, voice chat and video on there, and talk to all the subscribers. We'll be talking weekly, once a week for 20-30 minutes. So definitely check all that stuff out. Thank you so much. Ray says Nick was abysmal at calling plays using rookies, research, and strategy versus opposing defenses. Yeah, it's not good, man. It's not good. It was a mess, bro. 2 and 6 Sports podcast. I believe Jalen can do it. I just think, given our roster and coordinator, Jalen should have someone open every play. If he makes the right reads, I think we win the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the ceiling is there, bro. Cowboy fans don't want to mention it, but there's a lot of Cowboy fans that know that Kellen Moore was a good offensive coordinator. Okay. Kellen Moore has been fantastic. Okay. The 4 years with Dallas, 3 of those years were top 5 offenses. I think his last year, they were ranked 16th. I think ranked 15 to 16. I think it was 16. Okay. I think Kellen Moore gave Keenan Allen with the Chargers his best year of his career as a wide receiver. And that's just one guy. That's just one guy. Nobody else. Nobody else. Quentin Johnson, nobody else on that wide receiver core with the LA Chargers. There's nothing compared to this. This is the best roster Kellen Moore has ever is going to coach in his career. Okay? On paper, yeah. Oh, he had Austin Eckler. I mean, that's it. I mean, he's an okay back. He's all right. He's solid. He's with the Commanders now. But come on now. You got Saquon. You got Will Shipley. You got Kenny G. I mean, it's using the running backs in the receiving game. It's crazy. Philly Bird says, truer offensive play calling was horrific last season. Yeah, it was bad, dude. Kyle says, nope, no love for Slay. Slay doesn't tackle. He's old and thinks about him. I like what he has been, but he is a push tackle, and that's not going to do. I didn't like it either. I didn't like those comments. I'm not going to tackle like that, this late in my career. Like, bro, like, you almost went to the Ravens. The Eagles brought you back. You got more fucking money. And then once he was called out on a WIP post-game show of that the corners aren't physical enough, he lost his shit. And with these podcasts these players have, they're literally putting a target on their back for the fan bases. They really are. Richie says, will the Eagles miss Jack Stahl at tight end too? Yeah, I think they will, honestly, because as a blocker, he was great, reliable hands, not as much separation, can get it at times, but, a lot of starting quality, and he's been healthy, so Jack Stahl with the New York Giants now, which really sucks. It seems like the Giants have taken every time we've had. Tyree Jackson, when we were done with him, and it's so bad we were done with him because, at 6'6", 6'7", just never stayed healthy. The Giants took him immediately. Jack Stahl goes straight to the Giants. Damon says, sounds like Kellen wants to use an offense like Steichen, motion wide receivers, moving around, RPOs, all the things I missed from last year's offense. I think he does more pre-snap motion than Steichen does, to be honest with you. I think he does it a lot more. Keep the defense on their heels. I mean, you could use Covey. You can use so many different players for that. Put Devontae Smith in the slot. Move this one outside. Running back. Double. I mean, there's so much they could do with this offense. It's ridiculous, dude. One Dubai says, guys, next season he will need to draft Johnson's replacement. Maybe it would be Becton, but if Becton if it's Becton, we will need to find our future right guard. So offensive line should be a priority. Oh, they always sign offensive linemen every year. Okay, don't worry about the offensive line. Just Allen's here. There's no worries about the offensive line whatsoever. Okay, if Becton moves out to right guard if they re-sign Becton, okay, after this year. Okay, and they decide to, Lane Johnson retires, Becton moves to right tackle. Tyler Steen hasn't been healthy, bro. It's concerning. It's a little concerning. Becton, we had a little bit of a scare of an injury this offseason program, which really, that was really scary. But he's fine, thank God. He's got to stay healthy too. We got to see if that happens. And then, I think it's going to be between Tyler Steen and potentially Trevor Keegan. I think Trevor Keegan, I don't know why people are sleeping on him so much. Like, he's been really good this offseason program. This is a guy that started 3 years in a row for Michigan, national champion, didn't give up a sack for two straight seasons in Michigan. I think people need to give him his dues, but obviously, he hasn't played a real game yet, but I think Trevor Keegan's could be a starting right guard in the league. I think he can be. I think by next year he'll be more defined, and he'll be a lot better. Frankie says, love Art the Clown in the back. Yeah, this is an animatronic I did buy, but I wanted to take him out of the box, see if he worked, because when you buy $200 for that thing, you don't want to be like, hey, I'm gonna keep it in the box till Halloween. That doesn't work. So. Carl says, Kellen has no excuses this season with the talent he has at his disposal. Okay, so question to you guys. If the Eagles have a bad year, if the Eagles don't make a Super Bowl, how far does it go? Okay. Who is on the hot seat this year? Is it Nick Sirianni or is it Kellen Moore? Just think about it. Two and Six Sports Podcast. Absolutely. Remember watching Cowboys games with Kellen, thinking this guy has a good rhythm to his play calling. Oh, he does. And trust me, what was their best year? 2021. I think, what was it? 21. I mean, you had Dak over 4,000 yards. You had what's his face at double. You had what's his face at Diggs at double-digit interceptions. Zeke had over 1,000 yards. I mean, that was one of those years where they were like they had a team they had an offense that year. And then obviously they did what they normally do, is shit the bed totally. Well, Mike Williams has been hurt so much. Mike Williams hasn't been healthy. Mike Williams has barely been healthy. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, I didn't even talk about Mike Williams because the man was not healthy at all. So, and he really hasn't been the same player, maybe. So we'll see. The first name, last name said, this is seriously redemption for a lot of people on this team. Hurts Nick Kellen. I agree. I totally agree. And a lot of players are pissed off, man. Take that energy. He says, so how are we feeling about that trade we made last night? I think it's great. I mean, literally, when you look at the 22 Super Bowl, right? What were the two weakest positions in that offense? Okay. Running back and wide receiver 3. Can't depend on Quez Watkins for those big moments. I think we figured that out. Yes, the defense shit the bed. Yes, Jalen Hurts had a fumbled scoop and score. I get it. A bullshit call on James Bradbury at the end of the game. Slipping and sliding, watering the field down 24 hours before the game. Couldn't get a pass rush because guys were slipping all over the field. I know. I remember. I get it. Fred says the teams are going to tell players they can't have podcasts anymore. Slay bad with it. Parsons worse. That is true. Calvins do not like his. He puts them on blast. Yeah, I hate players having their own fucking podcast now. Can't stand it. If you're retired, sure. Chris Long, the green light. The LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson podcast, fine. You're retired, you're fine. But when you're playing in season, I think I played well. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, shut up, because people are just going to clown on you every single week. Remember, like, Slay, like, the Eagles lose a game. Slay's like, I thought I played pretty good. Like, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. No one wants to hear you say that. You think Eagle fans want to be like, you know what, Slay? You played a fantastic game. Thank you so much. And this loss, you're the only one that played well. Thank you so much. David says Cam played great as guard, and now he's back in his natural position. I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about Cam Jurgens at all, because really last year, remember when Jason Kelce had the orthoscopic surgery last year and he didn't play until like the first game? He played a lot of center. Kelce has worked with him. He's played next to Kelce. And he's between him and Lane Johnson last year. So I'm not worried. So if the only thing, like, if Jurgens didn't play last year, or he redshirted last year behind starters, there would be a different story. There'd be a lot of question marks going into it. But I feel really good. I feel great about Cam Jurgens. I feel great. Fred Flores, it has to be Sirianni. Moore will be a head coach depending on how the offense perform, which I don't doubt they're going to go off. There's two sides to this. Some say it's Nick because, like, it's just his last straw in Philadelphia at this point. And if, like, the players start to not believe in Nick and what he's doing, then it is a problem. Then he's probably out the door. But some people actually say it's Kellen Moore because they're bringing him in as the offensive mastermind to make this should be a top 10 offense, a top 5 offense, a top 3 offense. Seriously. Some people think Kellen Moore is brought in to do a job. Nick has decided to take a back seat outside the circle, let Kellen Moore have control of the offense, let Jalen Hurts and Kellen Moore with this relationship get closer, let them have communication, take things from what they did last year that was good, incorporate it into this new offense. We know that 95% of this offensive playbook is brand new, you know? So I think there's really two sides to it, to be honest. You know, Maurice says, remember CeeDee Lamb did say that the receivers are going to have a lot of fun with Kellen Moore. Yeah, I mean, they look like they're having fun, man. They have more freedom. They feel like they're used correctly. You know, even with Devontae Smith said at his celebrity softball game, he said, you know, Nick, you know, I forgot the quote unquote from it, but pretty much Devontae Smith saying, like, Nick taking a back seat, you know, what's right for him to do for the season, for the team, for the players, you know. In other words, stay the fuck out of our offense and don't come back. We love Sirianni's energy. We love the way Sirianni has created this culture that everybody believes in. As a head coach that motivates, I think he's one of the best at doing it. But as a game planner, offensive coordinator, no fucking way is he ever touching a playbook ever again. Okay, even with the Colts, Frank Reich was the play caller. He chimed in, but that was the most that he ever did with Frank Reich. Okay. 2-6 Sports says, the more I think about it, the more I want them to progressively pursue another stud for the online. Yeah, I mean, could they go after another player? Sure. I mean, if there's another position I would like to go after right now, is it safety depth? Sure. Not a top player, but a depth guy. Not Stern, that guy that they signed that didn't even pass medicals, that he'll probably be more of a next year option. That Stern kid is actually really good. I actually like him. Real rangy safety, hard tackler, in the box type guy. Can cover guys, ball hawk. I mean, that Stern kid they signed that's not medically cleared, he's actually a solid player, and Fangio drafted him when he was the head coach to the Denver Broncos. I think he's more of a player going into 25 for competition going forward. But I would say probably edge, right? Another body on the edge. I mean, we talked about it a million times, like Nolan Smith. I don't take too much into those 2 sacks that he got. I really don't. When you're uncovered getting a sack, how much do I take out of that? When you're going up straight one-on-one against the left tackle and you're straight up bull rushing, not getting anywhere, the running back chips you right into the lane, pretty much puts you in the play, carries you and puts you into the play to get that easy sack. You know what I mean? You're putting a lot, you know, Jalix Hunt is injured right now. You know what I mean? It's really, you know, that's going to be something we're going to be talking about tomorrow, the defensive end position. I think it's a big need right now. DT, I think it's great. I think the depth is great. Milton Williams is going to have a fantastic year. We know that the defense really starts with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis being in all this great shape, looks more explosive, a lot of plays made at camp. Hopefully to see more of that. Third year for Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter should be an all-pro year this year. We know what Jalen Carter could do. We're not really worried about that too much. Ron Yancey with the Ron Yancey, thank you so much, man. He said, this Dotson move is really good. If Howie wants to, we could have him for 3 years, including the 5th-year option. So who do you have Jahan pushing out the door to make the roster? Ross, maybe Paris. I think it is between both of those guys. I think it will be between both of those guys. Ross and Paris, yes. I don't know. Really depends how much value that John Ross is going to give you. I'm not really sure. You know. Sorry, I had to write something down. I just remembered something that I did not want to forget. So I think it will take out one of those two. I think it's going to be between those two. I don't know. So maybe Ross. I mean, you need kickoffs are no joke this year. Now you have to scheme for kickoffs. Now you really have to scheme, and you have one wall, and that's it. Like, you have to make sure everybody's on point on kick return. Who else is really been the better kick return? the best kick returner we've had during this offseason program, training camp, or at least for these preseason games, it's been John Ross making better plays. Multiple times, no, but at least once, the speed is there with him. So I don't really know who else you're really putting there at this point. Not sure where it's going, but we'll see. Eden says the Eagles are scary and deadly. This is probably one of the best offensive I've ever seen. This definitely ultimate team on Madden. It's funny because someone actually did the Jahan Dotson trade on Madden, I think like a couple days, like the other day or this morning, and it said like, I think there's a thing in Madden where it says like, oh, need to talk seriously or like something like that. Like it was just funny because somebody put it up like that. Chris says, I think the biggest player that will make a difference is Jalen Carter. If he steps up into his next tier level player, he can help this defense tremendously. Oh, yeah. I mean, playing the nose tackle, and even he doesn't need to get sacks, guys. Like, even if he gets 3 to 5 for the year, who cares? If he's disruptive, if he's holding his own, linebackers filling the rest of those gaps, making plays, he's going to be a great player. So, really, like, Milton Williams is a free agent after this year. Jordan Davis, this is his 3rd year now. So, really, it could be a decision after this season to sign Milton Williams or to really, go far and beyond with Jordan Davis. I really hope Jordan Davis does it. I think Milton Williams should walk. I don't think they're not going to keep everybody. Okay, we all know this. Some guys just have to walk. But, we'll see. Fred says Howie knows who to pick as far as GMs. He used to deal with GMs that were friends. Now he's picking on NFC East GMs. Yeah, I mean, when literally, okay, we're talking about Jahan Dotson. It was literally 4 weeks ago, okay, when the Jahan Dotson news, like, it started to show at first sight where, like, he wasn't even in contention for number 2 or number 3 receiver, okay? Dan Quinn said that they have no interest in trading Jahan Dotson, okay, which he probably should say regardless. And then Howie goes right in and says, hey, I'll give you a 3rd and 2 7ths, and boom, let's get this done. And they pull the trigger on it. In the division, another Penn State guy coming to Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley gets to play the Giants twice a year. Jahan Dotson is going to play the Commanders twice a year. Commander fans are freaking the fuck out because now they're really relying on the Brandon Ayuk trade to really go down. And they don't really have a number 2. Naomi, I mean, Olamide Zaccheaus. I don't know who else they fucking have on that roster to be at least the number 2 guy that's better than Jahan at this point. Remember the last time the Eagles traded for a player and he had revenge on the team? What game was that? I wonder. It was A.J. Brown. The Titans GM got fired the day after that game. He got fired the next day. It's crazy, dude. That A.J. Brown revenge game was fucking, was just so, it couldn't have gone any better than that. It couldn't have gone any better. Kenny the Arcade Pony says, Joey Shakes, how are you? Also, thank you for the trade, commies. It's crazy, bro. Philly Bird says we need another edge rusher. I kind of agree. Like I said, dude, like Jalix Hunt is out with the whatever it's called. I forgot, guys, tell me the injury. I forgot what it starts with an O, I think, right? Oh no, I forgot what it starts with. It's the injury. I forgot what injury it is. But he could be out 3 weeks. I mean, that's just another guy that you not only you miss in coverage, but is Yannick Ngakoue going to replace that? No, coverage wise, he won't. But I think they need more guys rushing the quarterback. I don't think they have enough. I'm sorry, but Nolan Smith hasn't proved a damn thing to me this offseason. And all from the players are saying great things about Nolan Smith. I haven't seen it. Him going up against Fred Johnson or somebody at left tackle is not going to make me believe that, I think potentially, and I hope it's not going to happen, potentially Nolan Smith could be a bust. I mean, Potentially. But I have to say to myself, last year, Sean Desai didn't give him the opportunity, barely played him. He got injured. So I get it. Oblique injury. There you go, Philly Birds. Yes, the oblique. So Jalix Hunt and Goddard have oblique injuries. So the injuries take from a few days to possibly 3 weeks. Jalix Hunt, I think, is a big gem for especially the scheme in general. I think when it comes to his perimeter, covering the perimeter on tight ends, running backs, from that defensive end position, going, dropping in coverage, man. A safety from a small school in Houston Christian transition from safety to defensive end, off-ball coverage. Holy shit. 6'4", 252 pounds, 242 to 252 pounds. I mean, damn. Jalix Hunt's had a very good camp. Very good camp. Philly versus Joey Shakes. Where do you have us pegged record-wise? I have 11-6. I have us at 13 wins. 13 wins. 11 is just 11 is too low for me. I think it's 13, 14 plus if they really surprise me even more. If Kellen Moore can get out of what this offense is capable of 100%, damn. It's going to be the best. You got to make him a head coach after this year. If they go all out and they make it to the end and they get that second championship, I'm telling you, you have to. You really got no choice. Don said, I think Howie will wait it out to see how good our defensive ends are, and if they are struggling, we will sign Matthew Judon. Well, Matthew Judon already signed. He already got traded. So I think they totally missed on that. A little bit. But the defense has so many questions. There's so many mysteries. Linebacker, is Zach Bond just the teacher's pet? Is he just the teacher's pet of Vic Fangio, or is he really going to be a good player? I've seen some good things from him. I just haven't seen enough because they barely play him in these preseason games. It's just not enough. You know what I mean? Devin White, I think, is going to play good. Trotter Jr. and Nakobe Dean has really uplifted himself very nicely. But like I said, I got to see them in a game. Defense has a lot of questions because there's so many new faces and because you have yet another year, another defensive coordinator. No, this is where you're at, dude. This is where you're at right now. Yeah, hey, Philly Bird says, I don't trust Sweat and Huff is a big. I trust Bryce Huff a lot just because I feel like he has transitioned a little bit more. Remember, Vic Fangio said Bryce Huff is learning a new position, okay? Because he was in a heavy rotation with the Jets at 43% of the snaps, because he's never dropped in coverage with the Jets. So Fangio has really taken big gambles with Quinyon Mitchell that's never played nickel. And look what he's doing. Potentially, by next season, you could have a number one corner in Quinyon Mitchell as the number one. That could go to the inside if you have to, which is great. So, Bryce Huff, beginning of camp, Fangio was like, I don't think he's a 3-down defensive end right now. Like, dude, $17 million a year, and you're telling me that guy can't that guy can't be a 3-down edge rusher? Like, come on now. And then I think later on, as his recent interview, he said that he's trending in the right direction. So hopefully that means it's a little bit better than what we expected. So Josh Sweat said this shit last year. If you guys remember, he had an interview last year saying he hates being in coverage. I haven't heard about Josh Sweat this entire training camp at all. Besides switching his number to 19, he hasn't really done much of anything else. That's where I've been at this whole time. Chris is definitely need another edge rusher. I would wait and see if Hunt or Nolan step up and trade for someone at the. Yeah, I think this could be a move down the road. Maybe I'm just very nervous going into the season with not getting enough pressure from our edge guys, because you're dropping in coverage so much, and they're going to drop a lot. But I don't think we've had enough practice at going after the quarterback, especially at that edge position. You're putting a lot into your secondary. This is the first year in a long time where we say, holy shit, there's no depth on this defensive line. Holy shit, this defensive line looks lackluster. But the positives are, man, they put a lot of resources into the secondary. Love the youth movement. Love all the guys we have. The future looks bright. So we have a little bit of a, we're used to. The one thing I am happy about is we're not depending on the defensive line because our secondary is that bad. Okay? We're not signing, aging cornerbacks. Slay will be the last aging cornerback that's in Philadelphia for a long time. We're not going to be signing another one for a long time for what's in the room right now. Whatever corner gets released from this team, I think potentially Eli Ricks could get released. Somebody, or at least not released, but he will be on practice squad. Somebody is going to snatch him up in like a fucking second. A second. It won't take that long. There's potential in a lot of these guys. The starter said, Joey, would you rather have a Ndamukong Suh or Marlon Tuipulotu? To be honest, dude, like Marlon, Suh doesn't, I don't even know if Suh plays the nose, does he? Marlon's going to have to play the nose if he can at times, okay? Because back up to Jordan Davis, Marlon plays the nose. Ojomo could play. From what Fangio says, Ojomo can play the nose. Marlon Tuipulotu could play the nose. Ndamukong Suh at this point of his career is waiting to get on a team that's in the playoffs, and he's going to wait down the road to join a team. He's trying to get his second ring. That's all he's really trying to do right now. So I'm not even interested right now to even sign him. That's just me. I think DT is perfectly fine. Edge rusher, because of the guys going in coverage and how good or bad some of these guys are going to be and how much non-production I've seen after going after quarterbacks, at least if like Nolan Smith was like getting pressures on quarterbacks in the offseason or he was close to getting sacks a couple times, then I would feel a little bit better going to the season. But you lost your closer in Hassan Reddick this offseason. I don't care. Reddick, I don't care about the sack numbers. Reddick is a streaky player. One month he'll get 0 sacks. Another month he'll get 6, 7. But at the end of the day, he's not a consistent player game to game. But what you can depend on from Hassan Reddick was him being that closer at the end of the game. Third down, a minute and a half left. And he gets that stop. Fourth down gets that stop. Do we have a closer? I don't even know if we can depend on a guy right now. So that's where I'm at with that whole situation, really. And edge rusher is one of the biggest, it's just one of the biggest question marks right now on production. It just is. Fred says, Moore is a technician. Do not believe Cowboy fans. They had to choose between Dak and Moore and made the wrong choice. I believe that. He's been the scapegoat. We all know this. What if I say, ask you a future question? It's almost impossible because of injuries and coaching to counter good players early in the offseason. That's what happened with us last year. No one could stop us. We were 10-1. No one could stop us because of the talent that we had. The talent can only bring you so far. And because Nick didn't have anything else in his bag of tricks from his 10-play playbook that was given to Brian Johnson every week, there was nothing to build off of. Sirianni had so many young coaches around him. There was no veteran-type play caller or somebody that's been familiar with play calling for Sirianni to say, hey, you run this offense now. I need to take a break from this. I think we need to change. The one thing we've hired this season, not even just our coordinators, but our position coaches, is experience. We're talking like 8 over 10 years of experience for a lot of these positional coaches. That's working with certain positions. But this is why you made these moves. Maurice, do you think we can get yanked Ngakoue? I don't know, man. It really depends on how this first game goes. Like, if this defense can't even get pressure, it's going to be a fucking problem. It's going to be a problem. You know, you get caught in 4K, it's going to happen. Like every game, players are going to get caught not making plays, doing nothing the entire game. Trust me, it's going to show. And trust me, I'm going to say something about it. There's no doubt about it. Who's the linebacker number 2? Dean Baun? No, it's Devin White and Zach Baun. Those are your number. Your second group is obviously Nakobe Dean and Trotter Jr. right now. Your linebackers for this season, I don't know if they'll keep 5, 6. I don't know. Zach Baun, Devin White, Nakobe Dean, obviously Trotter Jr. and Ben Van Simmeren. Do they keep another like Patrick Johnson? Patrick Johnson's had a pretty good camp too. Patrick Johnson's been under the radar a little bit at linebacker. You know. Let's see. Fred says Sweat not made for coverage with the bum knee, and he's lanky as fuck. Not in a good way, but he can get sacks. He started off good last year till the entire team dropped off. Everybody started out good last year. Everybody fell off last year. There's not one person that actually went ahead and did some good things. So. Reddick in Japan holding out for the Jets. Hector said the fact that Howie drafted 2 wide receivers and still had a trade for a 3rd wide receiver is kind of sad, especially after all the free agent signings. The fact that Howie drafted 2 wide receivers and still had a trade for, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Why does that show, what does it show, weakness? That it's just, at least, dude, like, there are fucking teams out there that don't even make moves. There are teams out there that make no fucking moves. And you're making a big deal out of, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you're making a big deal out of, it's sad that he had to trade for one. Why is it sad? Like, at least he makes moves. At least he takes chances, and he, you know, he listens to his players and listens to his coaches and sees what they really need. And if you guys didn't know, like, before we started training camp, wide receiver 3, said by Howie Roseman himself, right when training camp started, wide receiver 3 was going to be checked daily. Like, it's a position that we were really going to be checking on a daily basis. So if they don't have enough, why is it a weakness that he went out and or sad, quote unquote, that he went out and traded for one? I don't think it's sad at all. I think it's fantastic. I think it's Howie Roseman is just not going to give up until this roster is right. The players aren't working out. I mean, seriously, look at wide receiver 3. Who has really stuck out? Who has made your jaw drop, really? Who made your jaw drop during this offseason program at wide receiver 3? Nobody. Nobody has. It's been literally just, wow, that was good. Good play. Like, little inkets and trinkets and little tiny little plays here and there. Like, I haven't seen anything. It's like, holy shit. I haven't seen anything like that. Come on now. Come on. Come on now. Lloyd B says, Howie will trade at least one of our players that won't make the roster and a 25 5th for 25 4th. Howie will trade at least one of our players that won't make the roster and a 25 5th for a 25 4th. All right, so you just getting a bigger draft pick. I mean, the Eagles have 3 5th-round picks right now. I think 3. Am I right? I think I am right. The Eagles acquired a 5th-round pick from the Commanders, and they have what I think 3 right now. Potentially, sure. They might hold on to somebody and say, "Hey, I think there'll be interest in this player. Let's hold on to him and see if we could trade him." You know, it could be a possibility. So it's hard to believe we had Vic Fangio-style defense with Gann and Desai, and now we have the original with Vic Fangio himself. I feel like Nick is truly a fan of his style of defense. I totally agree with that. Because why is Vic Fangio's defense, quote unquote, I believe in the blitz? You see all these different blitz packages we're doing? I mean, we didn't do that the last few years. Nick Sirianni has had complete control over what Gannon did and obviously what Sean Desai did. in the defense. This is all on Nick Sirianni. No one believes it, but it is 100%. That Slick, what Slick just said in this live chat just now that I have up on the screen right now is exactly why this defense hasn't been. It's been a Vic Fangio style defense, but not under the mastermind himself, because this team didn't know how to blitz the last few years. Really, realistically, 22 was a good year, but you know what I mean? It's just, come on now. Blitzing is a huge, I mean, you're talking about a passive off-ball system with multiple fronts, shadowing certain coverages, and you're able to, and you have a guy with this type of defense that believes in the blitz, and you're not even just he's saying it and we're not seeing it. We are seeing it. Seriously. It's amazing. I mean, that's what I really like about it. They're going to be aggressive. I mean, just think about it. Van Ginkel on the Miami Dolphins was a nobody, really, until Vic Fangio showed up. And holy shit, he had, 6 sacks? Not big on sacks, but he had like 53 pressures at linebacker. How many times do you watch a Miami game and Van Ginkel's name is always called? He's always in the play. Linebackers are heavily involved in blitz packages, which is great. Obviously, you're blitzing, so yes, you're going to be blitzing your linebackers. But I'm just saying, that's a really good sign. Really good sign. So, we got the mastermind, bro, and that's what you get. He was supposed to be our coach last year, but because of Vic Fangio left the Eagles right before the Super Bowl, or was it the NFC Championship game? I forgot when he left. He left as the supervisor last year because he wanted to try to find another job. And he knew that Gannon was going to get the job in Philadelphia, so he went out and got another job. And then all the news came out of the illegal tampering with Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals and everything that was going on, and everything kind of fell over at that point. We got a super chat first of the night from TL Hopkins. Thank you so much, my boy. He says, tell Jerry this is what's going on. Tell Jerry this is what's going all in looks like. The Cowboys just don't spend money, man. They just don't. It's just, when they signed Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks, holy fucking shit, they won a Super Bowl. I swear to God, it was the biggest celebration because they never signed players. Like, when they signed those two guys, they were like, man, Cowboy fans wouldn't shut the fuck up. They would not, because of those two moves, you know. Gunner said, how sure you are the defense is 100% Nick's fault? I don't know, because at this point, when we had Gannon as our defensive coordinator, as passive as he is at times and off ball as he is at times, I don't know, because the Eagles played the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon comes to Philadelphia, and I've never seen a coach. You know, Jonathan Gannon, man, he was so assertive against our offense, man. He was blitzing. Holy crap, he was putting pressure on us constantly. So I'm like, how is Jonathan Gannon doing all this right now? Seriously, like, how is Jonathan Gannon putting pressure on? Like, what made me realize it was really when Jonathan Gannon came to Philadelphia and showed a entirely different defense than what we've seen when he was with us. Totally different. That's why I 99.9% think Sirianni had limitations on the defense and what they should do. 100%. If that doesn't tell you, then I don't know. If that doesn't tell you, then I'm not really sure. Appreciate the super chat, by the way, TL, if I didn't say thank you. Eric says, it's crazy how great of a job by resigning Brown and Smith, get Jahan, Dotson, and Saquon Barkley through a trade, and then bum-ass Cowboy fans can't even resign their top 3 players on that football team. I get it, dude. I get it. Well, you know what? Another thing with the Cowboys is they're not really good with cap. They're not good with trades. I mean, anybody can restructure a player. You can restructure any player to save money. I could go on overthecap.com right now and we can restructure a player right now and probably save a lot of money. But obviously, every time you restructure those bigger cap hits, you give more guaranteed money to the player up front right now. And now those cap hits later down the road on that multi-year deal, if you restructure this year, will become bigger cap hits later on. That's what the Eagles were doing after we won our Super Bowl in 2017. We were awarding players for good, not even year by year and how well they were playing. We were restructuring old veteran players every single year. And those cap hits got worse and they got worse and they got worse. And the drafts got worse and they got worse until we hit like 2018, 2019. And we started to elevate a little bit. And finally, the Eagles, after all the moves that they did this offseason, guess how much money the Eagles still have in cap right now? $24.5 million still in cap. What does that tell you? Financially, the Eagles are stable. That cap could roll into next year. But not even just that. Look at the moves that you made, as you just said in this comment. It's insane. I mean, it's almost crazy when you think about it. You know? Ron said, good comment, by the way. Ron said, if Philly wins the Super Bowl this year, you think we'll fire Nick and hire Kellen? I don't know, bro. I don't see him firing Nick after winning a chip. We need to retain Kellen another way. Okay, so here's if you guys didn't know, okay? If Kellen wants another offensive coordinator job and he interviews for a coordinator job, the Eagles can block it. If he goes for a head coaching job, the Eagles can't do anything. They have to sit there and watch it happen. Okay, if this is the question I've gotten a few times this offseason already, okay, after Kellen Moore was hired, if the Eagles win a chip this year, you can't fire Nick, and you have to keep Kellen. So there's two things that have to happen. One, either Nick stays the head coach, and they give Kellen Moore a shit ton of money and make him the more than rich can be, or they give him a pay grade, or they demote, and I'd rather demote a head coach to assistant head coach that still acts as the head coach, but Kellen Moore will have a little bit more control, not too much, but him and Nick will have a collaborative approach to coaching the team, whatever. Okay, I think you demote Sirianni to assistant head coach, and you make Kellen Moore the head coach, or you just give him a big pay, or you just say, here, we're going to give you a shit ton of money, Kellen Moore, to stay with us for a few more years. You say, sure. So I don't see Kellen Moore as the rah-rah type guy. I don't think you can get rid of Nick Sirianni when a lot of look, if you win a championship and Nick gets fired, it's going to make the team look really bad. You can't fire Nick. You just can't. No head coach gets fired a year after the Super Bowl. It's just winning a Super Bowl. It's unspoken of. It's unheard of. You can't do that. You know how many reports and articles and BS bullshit that we're gonna have to go through on top of that news coming out? There's no way. I think demoting him is a lot better than just not demoting him in a bad way, but demoting him, keeping him as the vocal leader of the team. Because if Sirianni gets fired, the players are going to be pissed. Like, players are going to be fucking like, what? Why? Especially if they still believe in Nick. Like, if he gets fired, man, that's not going to make players feel too good going forward. I'd rather demote him than keep him around. I'd rather demote him and then give Nick and Kellen like that collaborative head coaching. As Nick is still standing in as the head coach, but Kellen is, a little bit more. He's just a little bit more than what he's doing. So I think that's where we're at. We got Nicholas Ruvo with the super chat. Thank you so much, man. It says, do we have a Super Bowl winning defense? This defense could be nothing. This defense needs to be average or better. They just need to make stops where it matters, and everything will take care of itself. You don't need a top 5 defense. If you have it, great. And if you don't, this defense needs to be a top 15, okay, for it to be relevant and to stay average, okay? There's not many top 10 defenses going into Super. It doesn't happen every year. It doesn't happen every year, okay? It's a passing league. Average defense that gets you your stops, that's all you need. Don't have to be number 1 in every fucking category. Okay? That's all you need. Appreciate the super chat, by the way. Appreciate the 213 in the chat right now. If you guys haven't subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. We cover the Eagles every single day. We'll be streaming the finale preseason game tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And if you guys haven't liked the stream, definitely like it up. I appreciate it so much. So tomorrow going to be a fun day. Going to have streaming the game. We're going to have some commentary afterwards. We're going to have a video after. We're going to have a video, obviously, on the game and what's been going on. Maybe some video clips with it because we'll hopefully see Jahan Dotson out on the field. Well, not playing, but he will be on the sideline. Hopefully see the press conference tomorrow. And we'll have the Philly shakedown tomorrow night. So me and Philly have not talked about the Jahan Dotson stuff since it happened. We've texted back and forth, but we haven't even talked about it at all. So appreciate so much from everybody. You hit the like button. You're doing a lot for this channel. Trust me, it really means the world. And I appreciate everybody that's been giving super chats. I appreciate everybody getting to an actual conversation about what's going on, and just being, just being real to what's going on. So you guys are the MVPs of this channel. I say this, I don't say it enough. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate everybody that's with all the support. Whether you love me, hate me, think I say stupid shit at times, I still love you regardless. So I appreciate it so much from everybody. Fred says, when Carter and Davis are in, we have moved Williams outside. He could supplement the defensive end rotation. Oh yeah. I mean, that's he could play inside outside. That's great. I think all of them can, to be honest with you, because Fangio has even said, you can't just play one position on the defensive line. Like, you have to be able, especially for the DTs, you got to play inside, outside, whether it's a one technique, zero as a nose, or you're playing the outside as a 3 or a four in, whatever. Regardless, that's where you have to be. So, Kavai Jones says, now wide receiver 3 is solved. What's the biggest need maybe at the deadline this year? Looking at the team now, I'd say safety, depth, tight end, and edge rusher. That's where I'm going to be. Missioner Nash says, if we win the Super Bowl, I wouldn't want to get rid of him. I get it. Philly Birch, I'll donate $100. I'll dance for $100. You know what? Send me $100 at the end of the year when we win the Super Bowl. Send me $100 at the end of the year when we win the Super Bowl. How about that? Vince said, make Nick like an assistant GM, or something that's a promotion that gets him out of the way and he can just go over game film and how. Yeah, that's like something very light, like nothing crazy. Still going to be on the sideline. Still is going to be his normal self, his big energy type self. That's all that matters, my friend. Mr. Now says Sirianni should be the president of football operations. All right. Relax. Let's not go overboard here. All right, let's not go crazy. Biggie Up says, what's the chances of Eagles ending up with Allen Robinson, fan of Barkley, and Dotson since Penn State on personal preference fantasy? Do not ask me about fantasy because I'm too biased for fantasy. I couldn't do fantasy, so I couldn't tell you. For real, put a shirt and tie on him and problem solve. Who are we talking about? Put a shirt and tie on who? Sirianni needs to go. Yeepa, not a fan of Sirianni. I get it, dude. Like, I'm still not all in on Sirianni. As long as he stays out of affairs, I'm perfectly fine. Joker's Oblivion said, my biggest fear is defense. I don't have much faith, honestly. It's not about not having faith for me. It's really just there's just a lot of new pieces. There's just a lot of new pieces to the defense, and it's a different scheme, entirely different. As much as we've been running similar shit the last few years, this is different because you're actually telling guys how to blitz, how to tackle. Like, you're putting a lot of faith into Fangio and what he does with his defense, putting players in the right situations, in successful situations, not setting up the players to fail. What's up, dude? Appreciate it, House Cat, so much, man. Get them likes up. Definitely. I don't know how many likes we have right now. I don't normally check. 123. I want 200 likes. 200 if we can get it. If not, I won't cry about it. I promise. Fred says, and I fuck with Sirianni, but we all know what it is. We know what he needs to do is to back the fuck away. That's what he needs. Vince says, the Eagles defense got so many playmakers. We just got to get turnovers because the team moves the ball in the NFL so easy. Well, that's true, man. I think what's been the biggest problem the last few years, dropping easy picks. How many times have we done that? We've done that a lot. You don't guys realize even if we get just the slightest bit of pressure, this secondary is gonna be picking off a lot of quarterbacks this year. I hope so. It makes me excited, guys. Like, saying that the Eagles are a mystery on defense makes me excited. Not knowing what the Eagles are going to do as it's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be hopefully a positive roller coaster, Mr. National, if he wins the Super Bowl, he needs a prominent position such as the one. Joey Shakes. Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Nifty 350D with Super Chat. Thank you so much. Says, yeah, Nia Smith wasn't going to cut it. And Nia Smith has been bad, bro. He's actually had the last 2 practices were actually really good. He did some one-on-ones. He won some matchups. He actually did pretty good. But, man, you're doing this shit the 16th, 17th day, the final day of training camp. The last 2 days, he was good. But, man, I don't know if he's got a lot going on in his life or he's just got a lot of stuff going on in his head or I don't know what's going on with Nia Smith. And it's sad because I had him as a starting wide receiver 3 this year. It's crazy. Snowblade says Jahan's drop rate was in the top 10. I know he's had issues with drops. I know that, but he's been, I mean, other than that, he's been a consistent player. I'm not really worried about that too much. Drops don't make the player that you are. Like, I think with the support system he's going to have in Philadelphia, how the coaches are going to push him in a positive manner, I really don't see, look, guys have issues. When LaShawn McCoy was drafted in Philadelphia, he had fumbling issues when he came to Philly. He was fumbling the ball. And they fixed it. And look what LaShawn McCoy turned into. I'm not worried about fumbling so much. Will Shipley has a drop issue. Will Shipley has a fumbling issue. Has he dropped or fumbled the ball in preseason or no? I mean, I just think it comes down to coaching and instinct, and I think the support system, I think that's what it comes down to. I'm not really worried about that too much. The Commanders, I just, look, you have a player that's been pretty damn good in Jahan Dotson for the Commanders for the last few years. And at this point, guys, like him coming to Philly as a number 3 and just the way he's going to walk in the door and just to take in what he's going to take in from this offense and what he's going to be involved in, I think just the mindset is just going to change. It's a huge upgrade from what we've had. As long as you upgrade, I don't care how much of an upgrade. It could be a 1% upgrade. I don't care. It's still, you got a first-round talent in the slot as a number 3, not even a number 2. It's telling you. Eric says, Joey, are you concerned about our edge rushers and the safety? Yes, 100%. I mean, really, it depends where Cooper DeJean goes. It's been inside, outside corner. He's been the second team nickel. But you got to have him in these games this year. Okay, he's got to be like that Swiss Army knife player. And if they decide to throw him at safety for some reason, I think that's where he's going to go. We haven't seen it yet because he is just coming back. He's just starting to, he's going to play in his first game tomorrow. How many snaps? No idea. But he's going to play. The depth at safety is worrisome. Edge rusher, we talked about it for 20 million hours this stream, that I feel like the pass rush is just not there on the edge. Jalix Hunt has the oblique injury right now, so he might be out a few weeks. I don't know. Depends what happens. So it's going to be, it's going to be interesting. Fred says Vic is the originator of this defense. I don't think he had a bad one. This says Jahan got great natural hands. I'm not worried about this drops. I'm not either. I'm not either, dude. Like, if you're dropping balls, you got things on your mind, or it's a mental thing, really. When you're dropping stuff, it's all mental. That's what it is. You're saying Mills is going to Mill is going to be a good game. One game schedule. Hopefully, we don't loss. I want to win. We want the head coach that's wanted to win. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be a tough game, man. It's going to be a tough game. We need to stop thinking about what Green Bay is going to do. We need to start thinking what we're going to do to Green Bay. We need to start thinking what the Green Bay fans are saying to us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have to start thinking we are dangerous, because on paper, sure, it does look great. It looks more than great. It's more than what I expected them to do this offseason. I didn't have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown re-signing contracts this year, okay? I didn't have them both in Philadelphia after the next couple years. I didn't have that happening, you know? Kirk John says, our offense is insane. I can't wait. I agree. Fat Mac Philly says, Howie's not going to cut a draft pick. There's no precedent for that. Well, who's he going to, what draft? What you mean? No, Anais Smith will be on the practice squad. I mean, he'll be on the practice squad. There's no doubt. I mean, he ain't going nowhere unless someone picks him off the practice squad. It's a different story. Christian Viz, what's going on, man? What's up, Joey? First stream in a while. Good to see you, man. Love the Jahan Dotson pickup, dude. Who's excited? I know you're excited. Appreciate you coming in, man. Thank you for coming back. It's going to be interesting, man. I'm pretty pumped. So I bet he's a better catcher than Nelson Aguilar. That's all that matters. Let me tell you something. We could throw shade at Nelson Aguilar, but he had a good year with us. Okay? The slander for Nelson Aguilar should just stop at this point. He's been a shitty receiver for the Eagles, but for that 1 year, he's got to get credit. He's got to get credit, you know, for what he did in Philadelphia for that 1 year, you know? I used to trust me. I used to make a lot of videos on Nelson Aguilar, but you know what? He did a great job. You know, he helped us win a Super Bowl. That's enough for me. At the time, that was enough for me. I want more. I'm not done yet. You know. House guys, I think Dotson will fit great with the team. Can't wait to see him laughing it up with Smitty and AJ. Oh yeah, he's gonna fit in just well. Got a Penn State guy staying in Philadelphia, bro. Staying in the state, bro. Come on now. Snowball game was one of my favorites. One of my favorite games. It was just one of those games. You don't see those games happen all the time. That's like, even now, like, I would like to see a game like that to see if they would actually, like, cancel a game because of that now, you know? Peyton Manning threw a lot of picks in his first 2 years in the league. People need to knock it off with the Dotson scrutiny. Yeah, how many picks did he throw? Was it like close to 30 picks or 28 picks in 2 years? I forgot how many picks he had his first 2 years. Pig Up said, did you watch that interview with Smitty and AJ? They have a good connection and respect for each other. That's probably hard to find. Understanding they can't always be the one being fed. No, of course, dude. And obviously, Jalen Hurts played with Devontae Smith in college. Not even that, but his best friends with A.J. Brown. You know, so, I mean, dude, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown's kids play with each other. You know, like, their families are connected. Like, their kids play with each other and stuff. Like, it's more than just, like, they're bros on a team, dude. It's family, dude. It's more than that, you know? Dewad Jones says Cooper will play nickel slot safety. Hopefully, we're hoping they move him. I mean, it really depends on what they do. Vince Smitty has those moments during games where he takes over too, when they leave him one-on-one because they're worried about AJ. Now they have to worry about so much more. They have to put another defender in the box now because Saquon Barkley's on the field now. And now with Jahan Dotson in the oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Who's fucking excited? Who's excited? We're in the golden years right now. we're going to look back at this 20 years from now, hopefully with a few championships under our belt, and say, holy shit, man, remember those times? Not remember those times where we had a good roster, but our coaching staff couldn't get their shit together. That's what I don't want to remember. That's why I don't want to look down the road and be like, yeah, you know, look at what they did. Telling you. Robert says, Joey, if Dotson becomes a football player, not a prima donna, and learns to effing block, it could be a big win. If not, he is not playing, then it's a bust. Dude, I wouldn't. We don't know if everything that was said is true. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, how many, if AJ Brown waves his arms on the sideline like this, everyone's going to say, oh, he's a prima donna, he's selfish, he's, you know, like, that's what happened. Like, fucking what? He's not no prima donna, bro. I mean, he just wants to play football, and that's it. Everybody gets invested into the culture of the Phil. Once he's with AJ and just watch what happens. Like, he's going to learn real quick. He's going to learn real quick. See, like, at least rival players don't really know what it's like to be on this team until they go through, like, being with this team and what it really is like, you know? Round says, Dotson's route running is insane. We have a legit route technician at wide receiver 3. He's got 4.4 speed, solid hands. Man, this offense is set, bro. Somebody will be open. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. And we're going to notice, like, if Jalen Hurts misses multiple guys, like, guys open here, doesn't see him. You know, we're going to notice it. It's really up to Jalen Hurts and this coaching staff to get this thing going. It says, Zigo says, I take John Ross over Anias and let Johnny Wilson develop. Well, I think if you're keeping 6 guys, that's really going to, it's really going to be between Paris Campbell and I think John Ross at this point. I think that's where it's going to be. I think that's where it's going to be as of right now. So we'll see. Vince says Smitty don't need too much weight because he just got that type of core strength build like AJ. Oh, AI was. Oh yeah, like look at. I mean, you call Devontae Smith small, but man, that man could get some big boy catches. Let me tell you, and he does it all the time. It's insane when he does that. Fred says Aguilar helped us win. No, he's not. He was annoying before. Couldn't catch a baby out of a window, but stepped up when it mattered. It's true. It's true, man. I bought a Nelson Aguilar t-shirt. I bought a jersey shirt. I said, look, if Aguilar has a good year in 17, I said it before the season. I said, if he had a good year, I'll buy his jersey or I'll buy like a jersey shirt. And I did. I bought his jersey shirt really after that year. Kyle says, Joey said, let's do something fun. We can look at the teams on our schedule and see what their defense could do against our offense. Yeah, we're gonna go over. We're gonna actually go through the schedule again, probably really soon. So, I think we're gonna go through the schedule like real quick, real soon. So we're gonna do the final 53 this weekend. We're gonna do the final 53, and we're gonna go through really the schedule again. I haven't looked at it in so long. And we'll go over that, how we will pan up now as our roster has upgraded like crazy. So Vincent Solomon says nobody said anything bad about Dotson in that team. Not a player, not a coach. It was all fan. No. This wasn't a fan. This was Brian Mitchell, that is the ex-Redskins running back. Okay, he works for the Commanders. He works as a staff member. He covers a lot of the Commanders news too. So I don't know what he does, but he was talking to Ike Reese on WIP. And here, look, I'll even tell you what he said, quote unquote. Okay. I got it right here because I did it in the video the other day. Okay. So I'll go over it. All right. So this is what Brian Mitchell. So we're going to go through the conversation and we'll go through the quotes. So Ike Reese says, asked the question, says, hey, was Jahan Dotson a good teammate? Did his teammates get along with him? Will he fit in? Did he fit in with the culture? So Brian Mitchell says this is quote unquote, he's a great guy. I have this little thing where I always say first job mentality. if you're very good at your first job, you got the right to do stuff and act how you want to act. But when your first job stopped being the best thing you could do, that all of a sudden you got a problem. And I think he started as saying Jahan Dotson started to slip a little bit in doing his first job, and then his body language did not look like somebody that's really wanting to compete. So it seems like there has, as soon as it seems like, and that's quote unquote, it seems like there was players. Dan Quinn's the head coach now. Okay. There, as soon as Dan Quinn has been sensing players moping that maybe Jahan Dotson was one of those players, was moping during practice. I don't know. I'm not saying just because he was on WIP, he was right, but Jahan Dotson probably just had enough, honestly. Like, maybe maybe Dan Quinn just doesn't like him. I mean, he's not even, I mean, Jahan Dotson wasn't even in competition for the number 2 job or even barely the number 3 job, really on the bubble at this point. Okay, so, but at the same time, like, Jaden Daniels and Brandon Ayuk have been hanging out, and I just, like, and then all the rumors of Brandon Ayuk coming to Washington all of a sudden when Jahan Dotson's gone. So why do I feel like they forced him out or something like that? I don't know. I'm not really, Howie Roseman wouldn't trade for a player at this, especially you're not putting a 3rd round pick on a guy. Now, a 3rd round pick isn't crazy compensation, but it's still a 3rd round pick. Okay. There's got to be something going on to where, I mean, Howie Roseman must know like what's really happening with Jahan Dotson in camp. And Jahan Dotson arrives in Philadelphia and he looks really happy. I mean, they showed a video of him coming out the car. He looks really happy. You know what I mean? So what do I take out of it? I don't know, but he looked fine to me. I mean, does he look fine? He looks good to me. I don't know. I'm just looking at the video right now. I think there's a lot of bullshit going on, honestly. I just think it's a ton of bullshit. So that's where we're at with the whole situation. That's where we're at. So I hope for everybody's sake that people aren't going to take what Brian Mitchell said to heart. I hope everyone takes it as, I don't know. Like, it's just hard for me to be like, dude, like, why would Howie trade for somebody that's this fucking, like, not trying at practice? Like, you're telling me this man wasn't even in competition at number 2 to number 3. Like, what's going on with that? Philly Bird says they're just trying to get rid of Rivera's picks. I potentially, yeah. Potentially. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. There's something weird about it. The Wise Tribe says hated losing. Potentially, he's had, 3 quarterbacks? I mean, he's had 3 quarterbacks throw him the ball. The Commanders haven't gotten over the hump because what's been the weakest position offensively for Washington? It's been their quarterback situation. You know what I mean? Philly Bird says he's going to be. I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. But like those, like Brian Mitchell going on there and saying that. Come on now. The Wise Tribe says Calvin Johnson retired early because he hating winning and the vibes of a losing team. People don't enjoy their job when the franchise sucks. I agree with it. I agree with that. Like, how long can you stay with a franchise to be, that you can be above water and just, it's like going into work every day. You know what I mean? It's like going into work every day with a good fucking attitude. And then like, when everything around you, there's no morale and everything around you just seems to not work. And, you're not liking your managers. You're not liking how you're treated. Like and they expect you every day to come into work with this happy fucking attitude. Like you're a fucking robot. And that's really a big thing right there. JB said, I mean, even if it was fine, do we expect him to show up giving people the middle finger? I mean, Come on now. Kellen Moore cooking right now? Oh, he is, dude. He is. Philly Bird said apparently Washington fans love Diami Moore. I think it's Diami Moore and Alamada. Yeah. I don't know if they even think Diami is even a number 2 right now. I mean, every Washington fan is pissed off right now. Every video I've seen, they're all pissed off. Everybody. There's not one guy that's like, oh, it's great. Good company. I think they're more pissed off that Dan Quinn actually traded him in the fucking division. I think that's probably the biggest thing that they're pissed off about right now. Like, why in the fucking hell, on top of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, why in the hell would you trade him in the division? Like, I want to support Jahan Dotson's career, but not as an Eagle. Like, I've heard that so many times. Like, and I get it. Like, I totally get it. You know, like, because Jahan Dotson's, 25 years old? I mean, how old is Jahan anyway? I don't even know. I don't know, but it's crazy. Fred says, let's be real. Washington is a shit show. Eagles going to whip him up. Oh, I think Washington's going in a better direction than they have been. They got rid of their owner. They have a new football operations guy now. New head coach. I'm not a big fan of defensive-minded coaches as head coaches. I've never been really a big fan of that. Because I feel like because it's a passing league, you need more of an offensive-minded guy going, controlling a team. Yeah, I mean, look, Vincent says, dude, a 24-year-old receiver, bro. He's a fucking baby right now. Been in the league a few years, but, like, come on, dude. It's not like you traded and gave up a first-round pick. It's not like Jahan Dotson costs so much money right now. Jahan Dotson against the cap right now is a 1.5 million for this year. 1.5. And then not even that. He's on contract throughout 2025. $3.5 million. Literally, like, he's below $6 million for 2 fucking years, counting this year. It's insane, dude. Like, that's just low. The Eagles they gave up a third and a couple sevens. The Eagles will get that third. They already have a third-round pick now. They'll get another third-round pick. I'm not, like, when we swap picks for Kenny Pickett, like, I knew we were going to get that third-round pick back. We moved down 20 to what? What did we move down? 22 spots? 15 spots? I forgot what it was. Like, but we still got that pick back. You remember we got that pick. We got another third-round pick back. It's a fucking deal, dude. A first-round talent, didn't give up a first-rounder, cheap for the next 2 years, with a fucking fifth-year option on top of everything else. Seems like a good deal to me. Seems like a good deal. That third-round pick is nothing to Howie. That third-round pick, Howie looks at a third-round pick like a sixth. Literally, because it is, crazy. You gotta love this trade, bro. Look, I made the video this morning on obviously the news that Brian Mitchell said, but I want everybody to know what was said. That's all. I'm not saying, do I believe it? Do I not? I really don't believe 100% of it, no. Do I feel like maybe he's fed up? Sure. I think a lot of players, someone just said, like, talked about Calvin Johnson, like, he hates losing mentality. He hates when the team loses every year, doesn't make it, doesn't get over the hump. That just the team just can't get over that fucking hump. And, he's just like, man, like, now I got a new head coach coming in. I wasn't his first round pick, and he's aiming for me right now. So the Eagles are saying, nah, no problem. We're going to trade for you, and we're going to make the whole league pay and put you in that slot position, and you're going to fucking thrive in Philadelphia. This is one of the best feelings of this team I have ever felt in a long. I mean, even getting A.J. Brown, just trading for him, what the fuck we felt like. Now, with both of your number one receivers signed on top of this shit, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Philly Flower says, now we just need a pass rusher. Can't waste the offense, obviously, to win now. No, I get it. Edge rusher is definitely there for me. It's definitely there for me. Brown says Jalen has to drive the car. This offense is loaded. Yes. Yes. His birthday is March 22nd. Interesting. Visit Dotson's rookie year was magical too, and he had a sophomore slump for an organization that was imploding. So that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, we look at the statistics and he had a bad, not a great year last year, not a great year his second year. Look what they've done. Look what they did the last few years. Like, they can't find a quarterback. They can't find a quarterback of the future, and hopefully now they found it. The wide tribes. So Washington actually looking like they could be good for the next few years. I think Dallas is collapsing, Washington becoming our competition for the division. I totally believe it. The Cowboys aren't relevant. I'll be surprised if they can get over 7 fucking wins this year. At least I can see them getting like maybe 8 wins this year. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. I mean, that's where I'm at, but realistically, I don't know. $125 said, hey guys, which trio do you pick? Smith, Brown, Dotson, or Jackson, Macklin, and Avant? Also, what's your ranking between the Eagles, Texans, Dolphins, and Bears? I like our players better, to be honest. I really do. You know what? The Eagles had a lot of weapons with Macklin, with Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, the whole fucking bunch, right? It's just amazing to me that they never won a Super Bowl with that roster. I think, and honestly, there's nothing, and I love those guys with a passion. I have no issue with them at all. I think what's the difference between all that talent that time and all that talent this time is that the mindsets between both of those groups are way different. I think you had a lot of me guys with McCoy, with Deshaun. You had a lot of me guys in that offense. Okay? I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying I think the mindsets when it came to guys not getting the ball, guys not getting their carries, I think there has been I think these two groups definitely shift when it comes to that. Not saying that these players on offense want the ball and they don't, they'd rather not get the ball at all. And I think partially I think there's a lot more selfish. I think guys just want to get the win. They don't care if they have 1 yard to 100 yards. I think that is the main difference between the players you have now to the players you had a long time ago. So, the Chargers, Joe, I got a feeling we're going to use Jordan Mailata to quarterback sneak in the playoffs. Dude, you know what I would really like? Why don't you use Saquon Barkley for tush pushes? I mean, seriously, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, we know what Saquon Barkley, those big thighs that he has, those big legs that he has. I mean, why not? I think do a tush push with Saquon Barkley. I think it would be great. I think it would be fantastic. The wide trap said the only thing you got to remember is wide receiver 3 doesn't get much attention on our team when you got 4 all-pro weapons. But to me, it doesn't necessarily, like I said, like Jahan Dotson could get 400 yards this year, and it doesn't matter. Him being on the field is only going to be, if it's not him getting attention, it's everybody else getting attention, which will take attention off him, which means that there are a lot of teams playing zone, and if you're playing zone against the Eagles, you're going to have to pick your poison on who you're double teaming. So I don't care about wide receiver 3 not getting attention. If he's not getting attention, that means that he's going to have those one-on-ones. And Kellen Moore has to take advantage of those Jahan Dotson versus a defender one-on-ones. No safety is going to cover him. See if you're going to play press against Jahan Dotson. I don't know. That's a good thing. What you're saying is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But when we need that big moment, God forbid, Jahan Dotson could be that guy that's going to be open on the most important play of a game, and they throw the ball to him and he wins the game for us, or something happens like that. you know, we're going to be really happy with it. We're going to be very happy with it. Eric says we definitely need another safety. I feel a little bit better now that linebacker. Yeah, I think linebacker. I think the competition's been healthy. I think it's been good. I've seen a lot. I think Nakobe Dean has been he's been trending upwards. Fantastic. Trotter Jr. Besides a couple whiff tackles, you know, he's got a nose for the football. He knows where to be at the right time. It really just comes down to instinct and making these tackles. But I think I think Trotter Jr. is very, very disruptive. Patrick Johnson's had a good camp. You know, Zach Bond, I need to see a little bit more. I think the practices have been good. Fangio loves Zach Bond. I feel like he's like the teacher's pet for some reason. I need to see more. Potentially Trotter Jr. could take over. Who knows? Nakobe Dean's been playing well. You know, Devin White should have a good year. So I feel linebacker, I feel a lot better now than I did before. But yes, I feel safety depth is an issue. Maybe people are just not a big fan of Reed Blankenship. I'm not the biggest fan, but I think he is a solid player. His coverage a little suspect at times, you know. Commanders, or someone just told me to read Commanders 1985 comment. Says Philly Birds, you think a first and Nolan Smith will do it? For what? As in what? As in, like, if they traded him to the command, like, what do you mean by? Do you think a first and Nolan Smith will do it for who? You talking about a first and Nolan Smith or a first for Nolan Smith? I don't get what you're saying there. Leave me another comment and I'll read it because I don't know what you mean by that. For Myles Garrett, is that what you're talking about? What do you think it would cost to acquire Myles Garrett? Oh, yeah, it's gonna cost. Of course, it's gonna cost you probably a first rounder and a couple mid rounders, maybe. I mean, that's just too far out of our range. Howie is not in season trading first round picks. It's not happening. Switching first round picks and maybe some mid rounders, sure, but not. No, I mean if they did that, shit, fucking Christ, like, you know what I mean? That's far fetched. I can't believe that much. How he's capable of doing things. You know, I made a video on Jahan Dotson a week before it happened. Didn't think it was going to happen, but it was news that came out that Jahan Dotson was going to be on the bubble and maybe a trade within the division. That likely probably won't happen, but it did happen. But Myles Garrett, yeah, that's a rough one. I'm shocked over Dotson being here still. Like I can't believe Dan Quinn actually just made the Eagles better. Like, who in their right mind was just like, hey, trade him into the division? Like, where there had to have been. I want to hear from Jahan Dotson if there were some other teams involved. Like, he probably won't tell us. They never tell us, but somebody else had to be involved. I don't think Eli Ricks makes the roster, bro. Just because I feel like he will be on practice. I think Ricks will be on practice squad, but I think he's gonna get clamped off. I think he's getting clamped off quick. Honestly, that's where I feel it is right now. We got 232 people in the chat. Thank you so much, guys. Holy shit, this chat is going strong. I want to appreciate everybody for joining up tonight. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel. Like up the stream. No one's liking the stream. Why not? There's like 133 likes. We need more likes in this stream. Come on now. Appreciate all the support, all the great stuff tonight. We're going to be streaming tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you check the pinned comment for memberships to support the channel. Check out the description for other ways to support as well. Check the Philly Shakedown podcast merch. Not only are you supporting me, but you're supporting Philly 500 as well, with all the great merch, the new redemption line. We have some crazy things coming at the end. We have another week left until we have some things kind of rolling right now, so we're going to have some things coming out for you guys. Chris Chris Coffey, what's up, man? He said we had a lesser Andy Reid compared to Reid, who's around now too. Yeah, agreed. The watch out. Commanders may be getting taken on the team, but the front office can use to shoot themselves in the foot. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like with the Giants too, they're another team where when their coaching staff was hired, whether it was like, I thought they had a really good coaching staff when, you know, when Brian Daboll went there, Martindale went there, what's his name? That used to be the Eagles quarterback, you know, that did nothing, but you know, I thought they had a good core. I just forgot his name. I thought like there are teams that you feel have really good coaching staff, but man, Joe Schoen with the New York Giants, he is one of the most passive, non-aggressive fucking coaches GMs I've ever seen. Like fucking bad, like bad, as bad as I could say. KSF, so I can see the season now. A lot of unnecessary roughness, horse collar, and face mask being done to the Eagles offense, and no defense will feel bad. You know what? The hip tackle penalty did not show up in preseason at all. I'm actually really shocked over that. I'm actually really, really shocked over that whole thing, to be honest with you. This says buy low for Luke McCaffrey and fan. Oh, I forgot. Luke McCaffrey is on the fucking Commanders. I totally forgot. How has he been doing, actually? I haven't watched him, so I couldn't even. No, not Jeff Garcia, not AJ Feely. What the fuck's his name? I forgot who the fuck it is. Chris says Ricks could be stashed on IR. Yeah, that's another thing they could do. They could put Ricks on IR, on the fake IR, because remember when Jordan Mailata was stashed on the fake IR? They did that to Mailata for a couple of years. I remember that. Yeah, exactly. They did to Jordan. I remember Jordan Mailata, but is Jordan Mailata hurt right now? No, the motherfuckers were like, nope. You're gonna act like you got a broken leg, and that's it. They stashed his ass. Fred says Dotson is an Eagles, boys. Watch this shit. I forgot Zach Ertz is with the fucking Commanders too. I think we all forgot that too. You know, like, you know, we love Zach Ertz, but not giving him any stock at this point. No. He might get hurt again this year because that's all he's been, injury prone, really. Carson Palmer? No. I'm trying to remember who the fuck it is, dude. He might have been an Eagles practice squad quarterback or not, barely even a backup. I forgot his name though. Holy shit, dude! I'm having a brain fart. Viz, if anything, Burntberry is at least still long. Who gets his hands on balls and sure tackler for a DB? I don't know, dude. Fangio is saying a lot of good things about him. I don't really trust it right now. I don't know. What the fuck does this guy say? William Sullivan says, how do you chew that shirt? I tried. Made me sick. Oh, I've been doing it since freshman year of high school. I've been doing it for a lot of years. I got to quit, though. So when I don't chew... Mike Kafka, there you go. Mike Kafka, you got it. There you go. I was just waiting for the name to pop up. It is Kafka. It is. Kafka was supposed to be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it, dude. I think partially it's been really the front office that's been screwing over the coaching staff. What has Brian Daboll done? I mean, really? I mean, he went from the Bills as one of the best offensive-minded guys to fucking nothing. Nothing at all. Pumptown Willie says, how much does Cooper DeJean play Saturday? That's the question. He's been limited and slowly getting to full. It might be 12 plays. It might be less. I don't know. They're saving those penalty calls to bail Mahomes. Dwad jokes. lets the young guys play. It's over for Bradbury. Slay is a pull hamstring away, groin out 3 to 4 weeks. Let the young guys play. Period. Yeah, well, they can't get rid of Slay because otherwise the Eagles will be owing about $40 million in dead cap. That's why they can't get rid of him. You literally can't get rid of Slay. It's impossible. As much as people don't like him there, and I didn't mind him being here for this year if this is the last year, but if he retires after this year, he retires. If the Eagles trade him for like a late round pick, that if he wants to play after this year, he will play for another team. You know, we'll find out if we'll find out if McKee starts tomorrow. I don't know if he does because I don't know what the number 2 quarterback situation is interesting too. Vince says, I remember when our wide receiver 1 and 2 were the likes of James Trash and Todd Stinkston for years. Yeah, just imagine. We had Jalen Reagor and fucking the Umbrella Man. Viz says, Slay is the perfect vet because he actually takes the guys under his wing. No, I think the one thing that I think that's the reason why I think not only because you couldn't get rid of him, but I think Slay taking these corners, like you said, under his wing and Brandon Graham is making a huge difference for Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff talked about him really like the last few days of training camp. And, these vets are making a huge difference. Slay is not that selfish player. It's like, I'm not teaching anybody anything. And he can be like that if he wants, but he's not, So it's nice to see that. Diane says, yo, Joey, who is that dude Philly 500 called Baby Arms? Oh, fuck, I forgot. Baby Arms. Not Milton Williams, right? Milton Williams? Because Milton Williams has short arm. I know Milton Williams, Milton Williams had, I think it might have been Milton Williams. I'm not sure. Chris says Slay's good as long as he's accountable. Well, that's fucking true. We lost the game, but I played real well. That pissed me off. That fucking pissed me off so much. Yeah, we lost the game. We struggled on offense. Defense struggled a little bit, but I played really good. I fucking hate that shit. Oh my God. I used to fucking that podcast, bro. Fucking pissed me off. And I remember when Slay it was a week before we played Tampa Bay in the playoff game last year, and Slay was like, "Oh, thank God we're not playing in Philadelphia. We're gonna get booed." And I'm just like, dude, are you fucking serious right now? Like, you're literally saying, "Thank God we're not playing in Philadelphia." Like, fucking Christ, dude. Oh, Alex Singleton was Baby Arms. Okay, that makes more sense. I remember it now. Eric says, I don't like Slay anymore, primarily because of how the team under the bus, and he's the only guy who was working. Yeah. Vince says, BG is the perfect guy to learn from for Huff. I still hype over Huff, potentially like the guy consistently got double-digit sacks in less than 30% of the snaps, which is crazy. Yeah, it's nuts, dude. I think it was 43, but I could have been wrong. I thought it was 43, but it's still really good. I mean, he just needs to get his motor up because he's going to have more snaps in this defense. Still a rotation, but not as heavy. Philly Flower Slay's soft waste of money. Chris says, Slay's self-aware enough to know he's got 3 years max in his career. Carlos Lopez, I think they will let Nick walk or do something else in the office if his last year of his contract. Yeah, I mean, if this is the last year, right? 21 for 2. Yeah, this is the last year, it'll be 4 years. Yeah, so that's going to be a big thing going into this year, next year as well. The Wise Tribe Slay, and he's said he's retiring after the. Yeah, that's what he said. We'll see if that happens. We'll see. He still has another year left on his contract, so I don't know. They'll have to work out some retirement thing. They'll have to work out something to where the Eagles. Oh, they'll have to work something out. Dewad Jones says, then Sidney Brown comes back week 5, back end going. Well, dude, let's be honest here. Anybody excited for Sidney Brown this year, just put it to rest because he's going to come back. He's missed so much time. He needs to work on staying healthy. Even when he comes back, he's not going to be 100%. Okay. You think he's going to come back week 5? Because he's on PUP list. So if he stays on PUP list by the regular season, he needs to be out 4 weeks on PUP list. So when the regular season hits and he still is on PUP list, he will be out an automatic 4 weeks. So if he does come back week 5, which is the bye week, so technically he'll come back week 6. Okay. He hasn't played. He had a late injury, an ACL, whatever it was. Okay. You can't come off of a late injury and expect him to play this year. If he got hurt in September of last year, then it would make more sense for him to come back and play. But he got hurt in a useless game. He got hurt in a useless game, and unfortunately, he needs to stay healthy. He just has to work on coming back to full strength. When he comes back, he's not going to be in football shape. He's just not. He's not going to be in football shape when he comes back. Don't expect Sidney Brown to play games this year. It's not going to happen. I'm excited for him to come back because he's definitely – I like him more as a safety, to be honest with you. You know, him not being in the lineup, yeah, it sucks tremendously, no doubt. This is Vic will bench Slay. He won't play that missed tackle shot. Yeah. As the gave you Giles says, Kellen Moore is going to make Jalen look bad. Go Cowboys. Oh, so he made Dak look bad, you know, and he's been not on the Cowboys for how many years? That's crazy. That's crazy. Insane, man. I mean, the troll job is great, but your soul is crushed, and it's okay. It's all right. Maybe next year. Chris says ACL. Yeah, he got an ACL in December, bro. Like, you think he's going to come back and start playing? No, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. But, yeah, other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. That's where we're at right now. I hope everyone has a good night. I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. We are going to be back. We will be back tomorrow with a streaming the game. Shakedown tomorrow night. We'll have some videos for the weekend, obviously. And, yeah, we'll be back to our normal thing as usual. Guys, if you haven't checked out the Philly Shakedown podcast merch, definitely check it out. We have a lot of new things that are out for the merch already. We already have a few things. Me and Philly have been working really hard on some of the merch. We have more stuff coming out at the end of the month as well. We have the Jalen Hurts shirt that's out with some of his sayings on it. Saquon Barkley in Eagles gear, MetLife Stadium burning down. We have a Swole AJ Brown shirt. We have a Slim Reaper Devontae Smith shirt. One of my favorites here, the Swole Batman AJ Brown shirt. Definitely check it out. Link is in the description. Go get your shirt. Support the Philly Shakedown podcast. This is high quality prints. I'm not kidding. Me and Philly, you know, we want the best for you guys. Okay, these are high quality prints. You can wash them 5-6 times. You see me wear my what's it called? My Howie Roseman shirt and, you know, the pimp shirt and some of the other shirts I've worn. I've washed them 5-6 times. You will never get them to fade or anything like that. So trust me. Definitely check out some of the merch that is in the description, and start ordering, because we have a lot more merch coming out. We're in the works of some things at the end of August, another week. So I have our guy working on a lot of things right now, as of right now. So definitely check out all that great stuff. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button as well before you leave. Like I said, streaming tomorrow. We'll have a video. We'll have the Shakedown podcast, all that great stuff, and we'll be ready to go. More merch is coming soon, so definitely check it out in the link below for the merch. And that's it. You guys have a fantastic day. Thank you for the super chats, the memberships, all of that great stuff. Without you guys, this channel would be nothing. And thanks a lot to everybody being here and being here with me and us enjoying the moment of a really nice trade and a really good road going down with the season. So, all right, we'll see you for the live stream tomorrow, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Remember, shake squat up, fly, guys.